This is the House Wyffindor Pinnacle Cup. Welcome back to Ascent Tournament Series Season 4 Playoffs. I'm Spotty FC. Joining me for tonight's action is pyroblocks, and we start in the quarterfinals. How you doing, pyroblocks? It's great to see you.
Top tier content the entire season. Bunch of teams tying 5-2 at the top, 4-3 right after, and we're going to see a 5-team bracket where really anybody could come out on top. Very excited to see how tonight's going to go.
Yeah, as you mentioned as well, KCG Chaos already having won by forfeit against 10X, so 5 teams remain here in a bracket. It's a $300 prize pool to the top 2 teams. So tonight, single elimination, and everybody's looking for that grand finals appearance. For now, though, we're just about ready to get things underway in just a few moments. And what a match we have here. Returning for yet another season, our previous season champions, Midwest Mafia, return as they now take on newcomers, Pandamonium Bloodbenders, a Pandamonium team that not only beat them in the regular season, but also beat the Egoists, our #1 overall side.
Yeah, and I'm a bit of a Midwest Mafia homer, I have to admit. But this is a team that time and time again across their many leagues will often save their best performances for last. They come into this playoffs as the final seed still alive, still 4-3, still taking a win off of KCG Chaos, but a step below everybody else. They're going to look to prove themselves against first Pandemonium and then Egoists if they can manage this win. I certainly have their work cut out for them tonight.
We absolutely do here, and again, considering that this Pandemonium side did beat them in the regular season by a sweep, this is going to be a tough challenge, but it's not like it's the only time that we have had doubts on Midwest Mafia. Last season, again, the season that they won, they were not the #1 seed, they were #2. They lost 100X Knight, who are also in this final bracket, and are looking to take revenge, but they beat them in the grand finals in a 4-2 series. Tonight could be yet a very similar night for Midwest Mafia, but for Pandemonium, they're a new team, a new org, a new set of competitors. Rocky, Golem, and Vibin have been tearing up the competition, being relative unknowns coming into this tournament. It's more than impressive to see what they've done.
Yeah, absolutely, and that win over Egoist stands out as a definitive one. And you're looking at the stats for these players. Not many teams nowadays in the modern meta will have very clear defined 1-2-3 roles, but you see that for sure with Pandemonium. Vibe in their top players, averaging over a goal a game, one of just a few players in the Pinnacle Cup to be doing so. Rocky's been holding down the defense, over 2 saves a game for him, and Golem spreading things around more evenly. But this is a team that very much are going to be able to see a consistent structure. It's going to be interesting to see how Midwest Mafia try to break that down and how Pandemonium respond.
You said as well. It's an important one here, and I mentioned already, it's single elimination tonight. You win and you move on, you lose and your run is over. So, for both these teams, there's a real high amount of pressure, and I'm sure they're all feeling, knowing that if they lose, their run is just like that, done. And I'm excited to see how things go. I'm excited to see how this match goes. I'm really excited to see how Midwest Mafia is going to play. Because again, they won last season, but this season has not been so nice to them, coming into this event as the 5th seed. Seeding has, again, not been good for them. The season's not been good for them. 5th seed, and while ironically they have the same record as the #1 team at, they're the only team here that's not 5-2 the next season. They actually ended their season 4-3. The one benefit they do have is, again, they've already been here. This team, very little changes from last season, and they won last season. Expect to see a lot of that kind of consistency. Expect to see this team finding some success, but because they've already won, they have that knowledge of how to win. Now it's just, how are they going to play?
Yeah, if you're looking for championship experience, this Midwest Mafia team certainly one that you look to root for. And I mean, as far as amateur leagues go, they are the most veteran you can be. This time marching out a roster of Vibel, Owen, and Dylan for tonight, I believe, and certainly a tough out for any team. Not the 5 seed that you look to be playing. You think, you secured a top 4 spot. Maybe your first match will be just a little bit easier as you look forward to Egoist, but you absolutely cannot overlook this Midwest Mafia squad. With their wins, even with their losses, they played 100X Knight close. Egoist, they took a game off of them last week. So there's going to be a lot for Pandemonium to do to stave off an upset.
Yeah, and if there's one player that I want to focus on specifically, it is Owen of Midwest Mafia. Simply put, he was the MVP in to the playoffs last season. We'd expect that if someone's going to step up when the time calls for it, it would be Owen, but we'll see about that for now. and we are just going to prepare for these matches. So, what a time it is! Again, a $300 prize pool, our biggest, one of our biggest prize pools to date. It's gonna be exciting to say the very least. I'm excited to see how this will go to the very least. And simply put, we know how good these teams are. We know how talented they are. Now it's about being able to put that all out on the field. Reminder: tonight will not be a short night either. We're gonna be here throughout the entirety of the bracket, quarters, semis, and finals. So you will get to see absolutely everything, and includes naming our champions at the end of our night of what is our biggest division, our highest ranked division to date.
Yeah, and oftentimes what can happen in these high tiers of these leagues is that you will get one team that's head and shoulders above the rest, but we've got quite a treat for us tonight. Again, all five of these teams taking at least 2 losses, games off of each other, scrapping back and forth. You really will not know until the final game is played at the end of the night who's going to take it. So a lot of really interesting action ahead of us, a lot of different storylines colliding, coming to a close for the ATS Season 4 Pinnacle Cup.
It definitely is, and it's not even our only championship as well. This is only our second of 5 championships. Next weekend, Sunday, at 8 Eastern, we'll start our 175 Esports Phoenix Cup championships. And then 2 weeks after that, you'll be seeing our Yu-Gi-Oh! Esports Catalyst Cup and our Team Evo Apex Cup come to their close. So we've got a lot of more action, a lot more championships, and a lot more champions as well. So tonight is 3 hours of Rocket League action. And of course, a final bracket push to name our champion this season. Now, all that really comes down to this is who's going to perform when the time calls for it. We already mentioned Owen, but on the side of Pandamonium, you talked a little bit about this team. Who on Pandamonium do you think is the person to show up? You mentioned you mentioned Vibin specifically. Is that the player that you think out of Pandamonium, that if there is the one to show up, has to show up now?
I think he's got to continue to have the great production that he's had this entire season, but I'm also looking at Gollum. When you get these kind of glue players, it's going to be really important that they're on their game. They can, as their name suggests, make or break a team's performance. If we see him showing up early with a lot of assists, a lot of really solid midfield play, it could be a rough night for Midwest Mafia.
Now, again, we are just players in the lobby, but again, I'm excited to see how things go. I'm excited to see how these players will perform. There's so much good action. Again, it's a 7-week season that's all come down to one final bracket. Everything in the regular season doesn't matter anymore. It's all about how you play tonight. And considering that everybody is so close to each other in record from the regular season, it really doesn't matter. The regular season really doesn't matter because clearly we can't seem to determine what team's our best team for the regular season. Again, as I mentioned already, of the 5 teams playing tonight, 4 of them ended their season 5-2. There is a real reason that these players have been performing well, and there's a real reason why all of these teams here deserve a shot at winning.
Yeah, and you will oftentimes find, one team is dominating the regular season, one team has had more experience, but given how much parity there is, it just makes showing up on Sunday that much more important. Each of these teams have traded spots at the top, with the exception from Midwest Mafia. They kind of came on late in the season. They started 0-2 before coming back, and 100X Night especially is another team I'm going to be looking forward to later in the night. They started the season 4-0 before dropping a series to KCG Chaos. I think they're going to be a team that certainly could come out of nowhere, at least as much as a team in second place could come out of nowhere to take it. Just a lot on the line here, and so much yet to be determined.
As you said, so much on the line, but so much for waiting. Let's get things underway. The House Wyffindor Pinnacle Cup, our top division to date. 5 teams, 1 championship awaits. Who will win it all? Midwest Mafia, our previous champions of last season's Apex Cup. And Pandamonium Bloodbenders, the newcomers, a team of 3 that has shocked everyone this season. Do we see history repeat, or do we see a new leader? Midwest Mafia on the blue, Pandamonium Bloodbenders on the orange.
Yeah, something I say so often is that if you are the underdog team in these series, you want to get early game wins, but in this case, I don't really know who the underdog would be. Pandemonium had a better regular season. They took the win in week 2. This one floating around the orange net, just about kept out. But Midwest Mafia, that championship experience so valuable, don't really know who needs this first game more. It will certainly set the tone for this series as a couple of floaters in front of the blue net as well, but nothing too dangerous so far. Seems like a very feeling out first minute of gameplay so far.
Yeah, you can tell as well as V-Bell trying to find that pass down to Dylan. Owen recovers, but Vibin! Oh, it's on the line! It is kept out eventually. Midwest Mafia nearly got caught on an overcommit. Now it's Golem round the corner. V-Bell clears it away. And Pandamonium Bloodbenders will recover. Vibin holding control as V-Bell can't challenge. Dylan and Owen both winning on defense. Last season's playoff MVP in Owen. Not only did he help lead this team to victory, but he helped them in that grand finals as well against the 100X Knight, a team that is back this season on the other side of the brackets. Will be on Cripple Monkey Shine stream later tonight in their semifinals against KCG Chaos. As another shot, Golem walking in. That one stopped by V-Bell, and Midwest Mafia are already playing a lot of defense, but if this team is known for anything, it's that rotation. That rotation will not fall apart very easily.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a team very comfortable playing defense. Pandemonium going to have to be careful not to overcommit as they put shots on target. I want to mention V-Bell as well. He has the most saves per game in the Pinnacle Cup, 2.6 to his name each and every time he gets out onto the pitch. So he's going to be dangerous on offense as well. This shot towards the right side, just about pushed away. As right back into some more Pandemonium pressure, we can see kind of how this game is going to go. Pandemonium trying to apply as much pressure as possible. Midwest Mafia looking for those counterattacks as they are here. V-Bell up for one, trying to slow it down. Has the reset flip, trying to dunk Vibin. The save is made. Pandemonium answering the call whenever they have been tested on defense so far. Just have to find something down the other end.
Yes, V-Bell, the Canadian, trying to put the first one on. Midwest Mafia knocking on the door, their first major chance of the game, but it just doesn't end up going anywhere. As another infield play, Golem. Well, dribble one by Owen, now gets around Dylan. The last one back in V-Bell. He's made saves before. He's got to make this one as Rocky, unable to get the second touch, will try to leave things in front for Vibin. But Midwest Mafia will clear this one away, and with the high-paced action so far, not much really being shown. Neither team really making errors. It's a rotational style right now, and not a lot of chaos really made. Dylan, up first, will destroy Rocky to that challenge. But Midwest Mafia not holding control, and it really does feel like slowly but surely Pandemonium are taking more and more aggressive pushes to offense.
Yeah, waiting on that one demo, that one boost steal that could give Pandemonium a better look at the net. So far, they've had a couple chances, but everything met by a Midwest Mafia defender. They've been good to keep their boost totals high for avoiding counterattacks. Midwest Mafia stifled on the offensive end as well. Dylan gonna look for 50, actually gets a pass cleanly, but Gollum the only one there. Now a double commit, this could be costly. 50 by Gollum, vibing to receive. That's one, 50 is another. It's gonna pinch out into the midfield. V-Bell can't get around to it, and we are rolling back and forth. It feels like, at least in this past minute, pressure started to even out a little bit more.
Well, you say that, and yet still one goal will make all the difference. Dylan had open room, but couldn't make anything happen right now. And with quick pace comes quick decision-making, comes quick gameplay changes. You really feel like if these teams want to be the ones to lead, they've got to be willing to take more risks, push themselves a little bit more thin, maybe take an extra challenge, an extra push. And you can tell both teams starting to get a bit antsy near the end of this game. Somebody wants to win, somebody wants to be champion, but right now nobody is willing to take that risk. As Dylan, oh, Vibin doesn't have a great touch there. V-Bell can jump in on this. But Midwest Mafia once again out any luck. Owen will challenge. V-Bell's got to wait back as Rocky, the dribble, trying to find one under. Pandemonium will keep control as here goes Golem. Owen. Up goes Dylan. Vibin gets the dunk as Pandemonium Bloodbenders keep control. Owen still on the play as Rocky will be there to it. Now V-Bell. Vibin, he's going to get this one, but Dylan jumps up just in time. And Midwest Mafia will hold control as Dylan, it's not a great touch, goes straight back to Rocky, but does go for the bump to separate these two teams. As another play in the midfield, Pandemonium trying to walk into towards goal, but they just don't want to take the risk. They don't want to take the chances, and you can tell if you're not willing to play up on offense, you're not going to find success. Overtime in game one.
What a way to start our first series of the night and our first game of the night with an overtime. I've seen a lot of control-heavy play from Pandemonium, looking to maybe get a little more pace on the ball at times. Feels like they're having chances to get on offense, but a little too afraid of overcommitting to really send it. And it's allowed Midwest Mafia to stay in this game. They're going to look to steal it as well. This one a little bit wide. Gollum taking a 50. It's going to have 50 out to V-Bell well, and it will go through right into the center of the net. Midwest Mafia able to hold on in game one and will take the victory.
And it's just a simple infield play. It's the bread and butter of Midwest Mafia. Knowing what's going to happen from the play, knowing what your teammate wants to do. These guys have all been teammates for years at this point. So the ability to read each other's challenges is not going to come too much as a surprise for them here. Game 1 goes to our defending champions. That's only the start of this series. It's only Game 1. You mentioned it, Pyro. It's a feel-out process, and it really didn't feel like either of these teams really got a knowledgeable idea of what each other wants to play.
Yeah, I think this is absolutely Midwest Mafia's game. They're very comfortable sitting on defense and counterattacking. I think Pandamonium, very aware of that, trying not to get burnt, but in the process, they're preventing themselves from scoring, especially Rocky. I saw him a lot of time 1v1, 1v2 with some space on offense. Opted for a faker to take a 50 rather than try to push the open space, close it down. So definitely a little bit to work on there. Pandamonium have the chance to blow this game open, but they do need to take a little more initiative.
Yeah, they definitely do. I think for both these teams, that's really true. I mean, we're talking as if we're praising Midwest Mafia. That Game 1 is not a game one they're going to be very happy with. They just didn't have much offense to begin with. They played a lot more defense than they wanted to. They didn't really find many shots, and I think for both these teams, Game 1 is going to be a relative disappointment to the start of their final bracket run. Simply put, both these teams want to do more. As this series continues, as they get a little bit more comfortable with the pressure, I'm sure that they will come down to this. As Owen have to leave this one, as Rocky will be next to it. Gets the flick, gets over 2. Dylan almost got bumped out of the way as Vibin comes in for the demo. Pandamonium taking more control, slowing the play down, but they haven't found shots just yet as V-Bell will chase this one downfield, and Golem will send it back. Pandamonium reset from their own backfield.
Yeah, and when the pace is slow, those demos and bumps can be that much more effective. There's less work to do to chase them down and more punishment when they are landed, something that Pandamonium could use to their advantage against the Midwest Mafia team that likes to slow things down. Dylan doing so on offense, taken away by Golem. Well, a little bit of space in the sidewall, but not much boost to their name. They're going to take it to the ground instead. Dylan 50 himself, vibing now. Time off the sidewall, gets bumped off the ball, so right back to Golem. Rocky, one touch intermediate. Still 50s away. Not much going on here in the blue corner. A clear will come out, but met once again by this Pandamonium defense and just a lot of midfield control being vied for here at the start of Game 2.
And once again, a repeat of Game 1. No team wants to be the one to take the risk to overcommit to offense. It's like they're testing each other right now, saying, well, I'm not going to mistake. Are you going to go upfield and play offense? Are you going to be the ones to overcommit? And it's the response of, well, I don't want to go and overcommit. You go overcommit. And neither of these teams really want to be the ones that push up and take an unnecessary challenge. And that's why you're not seeing any goals. You're not seeing really any success for either team. It's a lot of waiting, a lot of standing still, a lot of goallessness here as Midwest Mafia keeping themselves on the dribble as Golem clears it back. Owen, for Season 3 Apex Cup Playoffs MVP, able to win that challenge over as Dylan. Will run down the field. Now it's Vibin. Owen. Stopped by Golem. V-Bell. Dylan with a full tanker boost. Has 3 players in front, but will go quickly to the back wall. Vibin's got control, but for Pandamonium, a big issue now is that boost. 2 of the 3 players running on fumes. Golem is soon to follow, as the outfield play will be cut out by Midwest Mafia, and Pandamonium running thin on the resources.
Pandamonium have bunched up on the same side of the field a couple of times, a couple of big misses as well, but the save coming through just at the last second to keep Midwest Mafia knocking. They're going to look to do a little bit more than that, but Rocky's now got control, trying to flick it forward with a teammate running ahead. It's a bit destructive. It's in front of the net. It's off the bar. It's going to stay out. Anybody there? It's just Dylan. Pandamonium, the closest they've gotten to scoring so far in this series, but the crossbar said no. They keep trying to apply the press. That touch from Golem, not what they're looking for. No one's just going to take control off of it. But again, not much trying to go for in the air, just opting to take it to the ground instead. Very cautious, very safe, and enigmatic of what we've seen out of these two teams so far.
Yeah, there has just not been anything to separate these two teams, and neither team is really making any major adjustments. And why should they? Game 1, it felt really... I mean, they should be, but why would you want to change something that you know could work? And it really feels like it's the question of, well, do you want to make a change and risk losing another game? Risk losing any sort of success you had earlier, or do you want to make the change and be the one to lead? Well, right now, both these teams just waiting, maybe waiting for a mistake, maybe waiting for something to open up. In Game 1, it ended in overtime off of an inadvertent infield pass from Midwest Mafia. Game 2 could take even longer, but an infield play. V-Bell trying to chase down Rocky, but he saw him. He had eyes on the back of his head. And Pandamonium will keep this one out as Dylan not going to let them get very far with this one. Now it's Owen. It's a bit of a light touch, though. And the first one up will be Golem. Pandamonium on offense again as Midwest Mafia will continue to keep control. The winner of this match plays against the Egoists in the next round. And, well, I think an anecdote to mention here is that for Midwest Mafia, who won last season, our Apex Cup was 1750 to 2K. They were the second highest ranked team by rank. This season's very different. Again, they have that experience, they have that knowledge of how to win. They gotta put that into use, as now they may have overcommitted. Dylan, save off the bar. Midwest Mafia will keep this one out, but just barely.
And once again, the follow is a little delayed, just trying to keep things cautious. A lot of whiffs here from Midwest Mafia get me a little nervous. Here's Gollum, the shot on target. 3 defenders there, the save's made, the net's left wide open, and here's Rocky with 3 seconds left on the clock to put Pandamonium ahead by 1.
And it's an unfortunate play for Midwest Mafia, but it's that overcommit that caused this to happen. One mistake, that's all that these teams need to win these games. Pandamonium Bloodbenders will, at this point, leading in Game 2. We'll see if it stays that way, as the kickoff does go for Midwest Mafia. But the ball hits the floor. It doesn't stay out much longer. Pandemonium Bloodbenders have now taken a game against Midwest Mafia.
It's just the panic at the last moment for Midwest Mafia, costing them that game. And it's Dylan called into action this time around. At a bit of a quiet Game 1, 5 saves made, but not enough ultimately. Pandemonium this time, they were able to break through, just do a little bit better to starve Midwest Mafia's boost totals. And that made all the difference. Both teams playing more of a first, second and a half than a first, second, third rotation. And that's led to this pair of 1-0 score lines. I'd like to see somebody try to open something up a little more, but it feels like with the scoreline and the series being this close, neither team all too eager to make that change.
You mentioned it as well, that it feels like everybody right now doesn't want to be that champion, doesn't want to be the one to lead. Somebody's got to be a leader, though. I haven't gotten answers just yet. These teams do have tactical timeouts here, Pyro, so it's possible to think that they may be able to use one, but for now, have to wait and how things go here. And I am definitely concerned for both these teams, considering that, again, they've played good consistently, but we need to see some offense. We need to see more chances. We need to see them find success. These teams have good defenses, but the teams ahead of them are very good on defense, even better, if you might say, on defense. I would be very worried if you don't score a lot, especially considering teams like Knights are known for scoring 2, 3, 4 goals a game. If you want to beat teams like that, you're going to have to score a little bit more often than you are right now. And that's a great start! Owen, 6 seconds in. Well, Midwest Mafia must have been hurting me, because after 2 games of goals in overtime and then in the final 5 seconds, we get one 6 seconds in. Midwest Mafia, an early lead, our fastest of the series so far.
I feel like somebody's in for an awakening this game. Could be Pandemonium, could be Midwest Mafia, but either way, I feel like the score sheet is just bound to blow up once somebody actually has to chase down a lead. Now Owen dunked in the corner. Rocky's been very proactive, the most proactive member of Pandemonium so far. Gonna put a shot on target here, and it'll float into the top right corner. And Sporty, it took us just over 10 minutes, but finally we have a game where both teams score.
Yeah, it is. It took us a little while here. Both these teams have been waiting, but maybe now is when things start to unlock. And you said it. Pandemonium now are forced to chase after Midwest Mafia. For the first time tonight, they have to chase after them. And yeah, as you said it, once teams have to start chasing leads, have to start chasing games, that's when you're going to start to see more desperation, maybe a little bit more mistakes, a little bit more proactive action. These teams are starting to learn here as Pandemonium heads to the back wall. Vibin! Oh, that was open for him. And a chance, well, a tough angle. One that he probably should be scoring.
Yeah, it felt like he was a little surprised that net was left open, and so he just misaligned his car, and the shot was a little wide. A little surprised that he even got close. Good work on him to adjust that quickly, but it will stay 1-1 for now. Pandemonium now starting to spread out a little bit more, put a player across the field and ahead of the ball. This led to this relative offensive explosion, at least 2 goals in a minute. It's unheard of. This one gets past Vibin, though. Maybe the increased pace of play a little bit uncomfortable for both teams after spending the first 2 games playing in, I don't want to say stuck in molasses, but certainly felt that way. We'll see if maybe Pandemonium going to be the one to take the advantage here. They're certainly pressing for it.
Yeah, they definitely are asking the questions right now, and you can tell Midwest Mafia, they have so much trust in each other. One whiff, one error, and we've seen them make mistakes already tonight. If they make one miss, that net's wide open. And Midwest Mafia, they know it. That's why they are not looking to make any errors on that back wall. But Pandemonium continuing to poke around on that defense, trying to see if they can ask the correct questions against Midwest Mafia, but right now, nothing really showing for it as V-Bell takes the flick. The longtime captain of Midwest Mafia now sets things up for Owen off the back wall. Rocky stopped by Dylan as Midwest Mafia keep the control here. Vibin keeps it away as 2 go for Midwest Mafia. Bit of a miscommunication there, and neither Vibin nor Dylan really knew who wanted to go for this one. They've left Owen all alone. Now a demo. It's an awkward rotation, and all of that from one double commit on offense.
Yeah, and we're seeing now both teams trying to open up the game in their own ways. Midwest Mafia looking for more of those demos. Pandamonium, we've seen Vibin do a lot of the work on offense, but here's Rocky once again to find a brace and a lead for Pandamonium. Owen just took a little bit too much time. And there's Gollum forcing the 50, something we've been looking for out of Pandamonium this entire series, and finally it's there, not giving Midwest Mafia their first man that much time on the ball, and it works out perfectly.
I like that you give the credit to Gollum, even though he totally wasn't intending to get the demo. He just got ran into. Somebody on Midwest Mafia ran right into Golem there. But you said it. It's making differences. You're seeing demos. You're seeing more plays, and now you're seeing Vibin. He's really been playing that demo-heavy style, and Pandemonium. If there's anything that Midwest Mafia does struggle against, does have issues with, if you connect on demos, again, as I said, this roster relies on each other to be there and to do the right thing at every single moment. One mistake, one demo at a crucial moment, and that net is open, as I've said it. So, Pandemonium recognizing that Midwest Mafia relying on that rotation, and if they can just break that rotation down, they're going to find a much easier defense to play against.
Yeah, the third man for Midwest Mafia, oftentimes left on low boost. Not a problem for Owen here. He'll take one and a 50 on another. But there's just an instant bang downfield. Don't hate it, given that Pandemonium's low boost. They had a couple of issues with getting countered on low boosts earlier on in the series, but it seems like Pandemonium doing well with their boost control. They feel very comfortable right now, not too threatening for Midwest Mafia. Chance for Dylan, just going to float in front of the air, looking for a bump, but miscommunicated. Not a common occurrence for Midwest Mafia, this roster that's been together for so long, but there did break down, and it has led to nothing more than a bit of prolonged pressure before Vibin able to find the clear.
That is, and for Pandemonium holding that lead as time winds down. They could just hold this lead for the rest of this game. They do not need to play any more offense. Midwest Mafia, they're the ones who now have to find a way to answer. After they scored first in this game, Pandemonium has not answered with 1, but with 2. And now Midwest Mafia need that goal, but Golem keeps it away. Bit of an awkward rotation, though, as Vibin will be back in time. Rocky avoids the bump as Owen will go up next for Midwest Mafia. Infield play, bouncing. It is resting in front. Rocky can't get there. This one stopped by Golem as Dylan will be next to it. Midwest Mafia sniffing down Pandemonium. That's just off the post. It was just wide of the net. Midwest Mafia looking for yet another chance. Dylan to the back wall. Vibin will be next to it. V-Bell dunked away. Owen with space and room and time to think. A double tap setting up Dylan. It is stopped away. And while Midwest Mafia continue to put on the pressure, Pandemonium give her the ball for one last chance.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw a bunch of repeated pressure. It looks a little bit like NRG versus Ultimates right now, where this Midwest Mafia side settling into getting some pressure at the very end when they're behind, but it's just so close to the net. It's so slow speed that even though their positioning is solid, it's just not generating anything, not creating enough variability in the Pandemonium defense, as they have to chase for 1 goal, and this ball is in the wrong player's possession and on the wrong end of the field. They will get a piece of it, though. V-Bell, smart from Rocky to go back downfield, collect the boost, and let it drop. Pandemonium able to take the series lead.
And what's even better about that decision from Rocky, the fact that he knows if they, with that heavy touch, they cannot get the next touch on it. He just lets that thing bounce, hit the floor. That's game 3. Pandemonium now lead against our reigning champions. We go into game 4. Reminder, Midwest Mafia do have that tactical timeout. They haven't called for it yet, and they aren't going to be calling for it yet this series. So Midwest Mafia and Pandemonium go again, and Midwest Mafia, they have that tactical timeout. They're not afraid to use it, but so far, they're choosing not to.
Yeah, you're looking more for them to create space on their own. You're seeing a lot of these shots that are taking a defender or 2 out of the play, but the follow-ups, they're just not in a position where the ball can be put into a dangerous spot right after. The Pandemonium defense gets reset again, and Midwest Mafia is starting back from square 1. You need more players involved on individual shot attempts. It feels like somebody rushing forward for a bump, some dummy play in the air, anything. But again, that has just made so much harder when this ball is so close to the orange net. There are so many defenders in front of it. Very hard to find that room to work with. That's what Midwest Mafia struggled with in scoring at the end of that game. We'll see if there's maybe a change coming for game number 4.
As you said, maybe something will change for Midwest Mafia. They know that they won last season, but it's a much tougher division this time around, a much tougher place to be. And they know that the pressure they're feeling, that the pace of play is right now favoring Pandamonium. It's been close games, low-scoring games, but Pandamonium have been the better team. They swept Midwest Mafia in the regular season. They're looking to beat them once again in the quarterfinals. As V-Bell will find Dylan, gets the flick over Rocky as Vibin keeps the flip. Pandemonium again, holding on to possession. Midwest Mafia, as you said, I don't know if I would say that they're playing slowly. They're not playing effectively. Their offense is one where they keep doing the same thing over and over again, keep trying to throw that ball at the nets, trying to do anything to break through, but it feels like they need to put their time into more effective plays, into something like bumps and demos, something like maybe further away passing, something where they aren't going to get shut down by Pandemonium every single time they want to go for a challenge.
Yeah, they're trying to operate in the orange box just a little bit too much, and Pandemonium, their defense is doing well to stay relevant in the play. I really want to see Midwest Mafia kick this ball out a little bit more, take advantage of the fact that everything from the midfield line to about a quarter of the way towards the net is free space to work with. You have a lot of lateral plays you can go for. Do want to see a bit more development there. Midwest Mafia doing better to get into offense, but they do need to still find that last step.
When did they get into offense here, Pyro? It's another thing to actually get the goals, and Midwest Mafia, I mean, both these teams have struggled, but Midwest Mafia clearly are the ones who are struggling more, considering that they have now lost 2 games by a 1-goal margin. Dylan will flick this one away, but yeah, you said it. They need to be a little further out, and I find it so surprising to say that because in Game 1, the 1 goal they got, the 1 game they've won so far, their goal came outside that 16-yard box, came outside of the front of the net. It was an infield pass, a simple play. That's what you need to beat Pandemonium. It's not anything fancy. It's not playing high pressure. It's just taking the space when you get it, because they are going to give you space. You just got to make sure you use that space well.
Yeah, and Midwest Mafia, their counterattack style of gameplay, Pandemonium seems to have figured that out. They seem to realize that they don't need to be so concerned about scoring that they're not able to get back. Dylan, though, looking for a play himself, and that's one way to get on the board, is with a solo play like that. Past a couple there, Rocky last back, isolated, so many options to cover, and Dylan just aims for the man, clears him out of the way, and this is the first lead for Midwest Mafia, well, at least since the beginning of last game.
It is, yeah. Their first lead since the beginning of Game 3, and before that, since the overtime at the end of Game 1, where they were able to win. Yeah, Midwest Mafia needed that goal here as Dylan. By Vibin as, again, it's just trying to keep things simple, trying to find those open room. One-on-one. Whoever's going to be playing offense will be the one to be favored. Midwest Mafia, another clear away attempt by Owen. Golem. P-Bell will take control, and again, look at all the space he's getting here. Pandemonium just don't want to challenge him that far out, and now he's taking it! He's taking the room! I said it! They're giving space to Midwest Mafia, and if they use it well, they pull out those defenders, opportunities will present themselves. Owen, with the second for Midwest Mafia, their lead advances.
Yeah, and closing down space very well there. But adding on to that as well, the fact that he did it in the air, everybody on the Pandemonium defense has been content to stay grounded, maybe send one up to the backboard, but not a lot of urgency to challenge. Vibin doing so here, and that urgency was what let Pandemonium take game number 3. They got some more chances just by closing down space. They seem to have fallen back into a more lackadaisical defensive structure, though, and Midwest Mafia now starting to come alive themselves. Vibin trying to get things going down the other end. This is very much unlike the past few games where now Midwest Mafia have held the bulk of the pressure. Don't need to be too eager to sit back on defense, though. Don't want to see them get too cautious. That's a bit of a mistouch, but once again, nobody there, so it will just ping downfield and an easy control touch for Dylan. Does feel like we're in for a couple minutes of Pandemonium pressure here.
Definitely is. If there's any time to put that offense into high gear, now would be your time to do it as Midwest Mafia once again downfield. There is no doubt about it. Owen with an open chance, and from that range, he's not missing.
Well, that caster curse was very short-lived. Vibin just, again, has to cover too much. There's nobody going for this Pandemonium defense, and now we are starting to see this Midwest Mafia counter game, the one that's been so effective this entire season, coming alive. As they've presented it to Pandemonium now, they've shown that they can score in a couple of different ways. They're forcing a little more respect, and it has Pandemonium just scrambling on defense, trying to cover too many options.
Golem gets one by Dylan. It's a bit of a miss in the midfield here, and Down by 3 goals. It's the biggest lead we've had so far this series. I mean, it's not much of a lead. Well, what happened there? Vbel just whiffed on it. Golem's gonna take one back. I mean, he turned away. He gave up on the play, and as soon as he does that, Vbel. Oh, he just didn't go. He thought Dylan had it. Oh, it's miscommunication at the worst possible time. Pandamonium, their first of the game, but even then, it is still the biggest lead any of these teams have had so far, a 3-goal difference. Now made to 2, but Midwest Mafia still just, again, it feels like they've unlocked Pandamonium, have been able to rebound, and we're in for quite a close series.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bit of a sobering way to give up a goal. Probably puts an end to this momentum, at least for the most part. Kind of gives both teams a little bit of room to establish who's the one driving things. But Midwest Mafia doing well to get back up on their feet after that goal. They have left some space here open for Vibe, and he's just going to tap it home. And hold on now. A 3-0 lead with 90 seconds to play, down to just 1 with less than a minute. As we can see here, Midwest Mafia bunching up on the side again. This miscommunication is starting to plague them. And definitely still more to play for in Game 4. It can't just kiss this one good night and head on to Utopia Coliseum.
That knowledge that they've won last season. Everybody wants to beat Midwest Mafia. Everybody wants to be the new king of the division. With that said, the pressure definitely is going to get to these teams at times, as Vibin doesn't have the touch there, and Pandamonium, the work's not done. Still 1 goal away. Vibin called into action as none of his teammates actually have boosts in the backfield here. They really can't challenge as Vibin will go again. Vbel to the back wall. Owen looking for the nets. No way. He actually put it on target there. Rocky had to go for it, and Pandamonium now forced to play again upfield. Rocky playing with no boost. Now goes Vibin. Can't recover off the ceiling. Dylan will be there, does get the touch, but doesn't get the beat on Golem. Off the back wall, saved away by Owen. Rocky will keep things close. Maybe one last chance, but Vbel won't give it to them. And Vibin takes this back to defense. He may want to be careful, he almost own goal there. He's now giving it up. That will end Game 4. A botched attempt at a play away by Pandamonium. And Midwest Mafia have Game 4. The series is tied again.
I was a little more nervous than they would have hoped, but Midwest Mafia ultimately able to close this out and bring us to a side series, just making sure that all of these games stay at a 1-goal margin. And that has been the truth in this series, just as close as you can get between these two teams, even though they've taken turns trading pressure. It's not been a lot of even midfield play. It's been a lot of momentum swings and different players in the field having their moment. You're looking to really now who's going to step up. Doesn't feel like any team is the favorite at this point, especially with how that game ended. You're just looking who's going to be that guy to take things into their own hands.
Midwest Mafia would love to have a game like that again. It's been their most successful game so far. The series has started to amass into more and more as Owen. I don't think he realized he nearly got bumped in the backfield. As now Midwest Mafia, it's a quick shot. Rocky is there though, and Golem will clear things away. And Midwest Mafia, you said it, counterattack heavy. That's what they're going for right now, but the goals aren't really coming all from those counterattacks. It's coming from when they find space, when they are able to take space against Pandamonium. As they'll go for midfield again, another infield pass again, unchallenged in the midfield. Pandamonium still choosing not to play it higher up on the field, and it's a risk-reward system. If they play higher up on the field, now their goal line defense can't be as strong, but if they don't play as high up, they're giving up those first chances.
Yeah, and the pace of play has really increased. You saw at the very end of Game 4, both teams now picking things up, and it has continued on to Aquadome here. This one dropped down on net, no problem for Owen. I'm going to look for another touch, putting it quickly. We can see now much more eager to bang the ball downfield, a lot more pace being put on this, and it has definitely led to a situation where boost starving is going to be more effective, and being able to change the pace of play, importantly, slow things down when things are going so fast is going to be the difference maker. Now is really when you need somebody to step up, as one solo play could bust this thing wide open.
Yeah, it is. We've seen some players have their standout moments, but it really has not been any one-player series, and that's a very much of a far cry from yesterday in the Sport FC Ascension Cup, where we saw players lead their teams, where we saw teams marked by their best player. Tonight, it really is all about the teamwork between these two. There is no one player I really can say is playing better than everybody else, and while we've had players have their moments, we've seen players like Owen and Vbel find ways to find holes. We've seen Rocky lead Pandamonium at times. It really does feel like there has not been any one player that I would point to and say, yeah, they're the player that you should be watching this series right now.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd all like to put their name on that ledger, but for now, feels like we're back to Game 1, both teams feeling each other out, just at an increased pace, as if the series is starting anew. And it is a best of 3, this one rattling off the crossbar and the post before Vbel finding it in. If you're looking for a game that's faster paced, I would say you favor Midwest Mafia just a bit. with how much they are willing to play pressed up second man and going for everything. As long as they are boosted up, they can be heavy favorites in that regard, but they do need to be careful not to get starved.
Yeah, that's the risk you take when you send two players upfield like that, especially with your third player back with low boost. As you mentioned, that last player back almost always has no boost, is rotating back to defense just to get boost to go right back into offense again. The risk you take doing that is an overcommit, and Midwest Mafia, while they haven't had that issue so far tonight, you know that once a rotational mistake happens, Pandamonium are going to be the first ones to recognize it. As Rocky will clear it away, gets that dunk, but again, Midwest Mafia always playing for each other, always playing for those same plays just to be able to continue that rotation, continue that control. Pandamonium, again, the first time this org has played in the Ascend Tournament Series, and it's in our top division, and it's in a season, again, that has been marked with a lot of impressive plays, wins over teams like Egoists. But, of course, that championship still awaits for only one team tonight, as Owen flicks it away. Room to work with there as he'll get that pop over one. Vibin. V-Bell. Rocky. Golem. Oh, he's backflipped. It's an open chance and an open goal. A miss on defense. And Dylan will walk in saying thank you very much.
Yeah, this is when Midwest Mafia's championship experience really starts to help them out. That composure, as much as it's there, is in their favor. And Pandamonium, you can see them starting to get a little nervous, maybe a bit of winner's tilt, thinking that they could move on. Midwest Mafia trying to put them back where they would feel like they belong. They've done well to keep their third man boosted up at a series in a season where they've struggled to do that, but here is just a first and second man chasing down the last man. I do believe both players in the ball tried to go for the bump here, as Rocky just no chance. I mean, he's just being harassed. There's so much to cover, and ultimately Owen the one to put it in.
I mean, to be fair, Owen did get a bump. Unfortunately, it was on his own teammate, who was also going for the same play, but Midwest Mafia, whatever that was, it worked. I don't think they're going to mind any other way. And once again, another game that is getting out of hand for Pandamonium, where Midwest Mafia and their tournament experience really is coming into effect. You can tell, with time, with the knowledge of what it's like to be in this bracket in single elimination, this team knows what it liked, although last season was a little different than this season is. This season, back to single elimination to all the top teams. Last season was a little different. It was the AFL bracket format. Midwest Mafia actually had a second life in that upper bracket, although this time they only have one. They don't have that second life, and they know that the pressure and the knowledge that if they lose, their run is over. That's why they're making sure every game prioritized to the highest degree as they'll challenge again. Vibin will clear this one away as Dylan next to it. Will race on back, but it's Rocky to the back wall. Well, a bit of a mistouch there. Everybody pushed up. Golem will walk in, and it's that bunching on defense. Midwest Mafia weren't ready for it. Pandamonium collapse on it.
And here's where that low boost can really cost you. Owen as well creeping out of net, just needs to stay a little more sat down. And once again, the increased pace of play by Pandamonium on offense doing them some favors. When this ball is grounded, they've chosen to rush it. That has worked out for them. Still, their work is cut out for them. At this point in the last game, they were down by 1, and now they were going to be down by 3 once again. Owen trying to put an end to any whispers of a comeback here in V-Bell. He did this in the last kickoff. This time it does work out, as he just slows it down and allows for the 50 to go through. Owen, his positioning has really impressed me at times on offense. A lot of the time this ball is leaking out. You think, okay, Pandamonium are going to be able to turn this into a counter, but Owen is just right there to receive and hit it forward. And that has made the difference in this game and the previous ones.
Pandamonium now, with time running out, can they find any semblance of confidence, any semblance of what we saw from them earlier? Midwest Mafia picking up the offense, using that knowledge of how to adapt to their advantage. As another infield play, and yet another goal, 5-1. And I will say this right now, I'd be very surprised if after this game we don't see Pandamonium use their tactical timeouts.
Yeah, you've just got to put a hand up, and when you have two players in front of the ball, turning every which way just makes it so unclear when you should be going. Same thing happened for Pandamonium's one goal this game, and this time it happens to them, as they're just going to look to get some consolation in the closing stages of this one. But you can see these Midwest Mafia players starting to feel themselves now. Saw Dylan go for a bit of a musty setup on one of his aerials earlier, and you can tell here this aggression enigmatic and symbolic of how Midwest Mafia is feeling right now, which is to say very comfortable on the offensive end.
Yep, it took them a few games to adapt. That's all they were doing, and now they have, well, there doesn't seem to be anything stopping them. That ends Game 5. Midwest Mafia now have 2 chances to move to the semifinals and play against the Egoists. The question now is, does Pandamonium use that tactical timeout?
Yeah, and I mean, Especially, I mean, I don't know if they know that they have it, to be fair, but a lot of teams don't really want to do that. They just want to get right into the next game. If you don't have that pro experience, it can be a little unclear that you do sometimes just need to take a breather. Even if you are feeling frustrated, it's better just to go into the next game fresh than to try to make things up immediately. The last thing that Pandemonium wants to do here is overaggress and and concede early, just be chasing the lead. So many times teams will go out of a series with a whimper. They want to give themselves a fighting chance.
Well, Pandemonium choosing not to go for one here, so that means we move into Game 6, and Midwest Mafia now just needs to win one more game to eliminate Pandemonium Bloodbenders from the competition. But Pandemonium, with Game 7 on their minds, need to start well, and well, already a shot from Rocky. He's been quiet since his incredibly strong performance from, I think, Game 2. We haven't seen that from Rocky since, and we're going to need to see more, as that's a beautiful play! Oh, it's perfect from V-Bell! Off the bar and in, Midwest Mafia, without a shadow of a doubt!
I mean, this can just feel so oppressive when every single time the ball bounces off one surface or one car, it's just immediately followed by a player from the blue side. And I think 3 straight times it happened where it felt like Pandemonium might have had a chance to collect the ball, and immediately there was another Midwest Mafia player there. Pandemonium caught completely off guard, and that shot placed perfectly. Couldn't want it any better if you were V-Bell, and now Pandemonium does have to chase the lead.
Pandemonium are going to have to continue to find ways to chase, because it is now, I think, marks the 3rd game in a row that they have not been able to score first, and well, it could also be the 3rd game in a row where they don't win, but hey, wait a second, they've got our goal here. That net was left wide open for Midwest Mafia, and Pandemonium will be happy to take it.
And maybe a little bit of sleep at the wheel here. V-Bell rotating in last man, didn't have any boost. Dylan, no boost, and Owen also on 0, so ultimately everybody going for corner pads, trying to find something, and the Pandemonium offense perfectly happy to put it in field and score the open net.
You definitely, I saw Dylan there get that boost in the corner, leave his post on defense. It's just the wrong time to go for that when Pandemonium are setting up their next shot on offense. And inside the first minute, goals for either side, but oh my goodness, another play here for Midwest Mafia. Well, every single player on this roster is in the same place. Now they've double committed. Dylan doesn't have boost. V-Bell has to push up for him here, and what could have been a great play for a counterattack instead has almost certainly fallen apart at times, but that's still a chance to shoot, and it's just hit off the post.
Yeah, well, for all the championship experience in the world, it doesn't mean that you can't fall victim to a little bit of winner's tilt, but Owen trying to calm things down for Midwest Mafia and taking advantage of this open backboard. Owen just has to dive forward. Rocky, no chance, has to stretch across the net for it. And Midwest Mafia, they are starting to maybe feel the effects of being 1 game away from a victory. That goal will do well to calm their nerves. In fact, they may have another one off the kickoff here. V-Bell faking it low. It's a good 50. Rocky there reversing, almost caught off guard, but ultimately it will be kept out for now. The Midwest Mafia, again, right in position to get some more pressure going. You feel like that was a chance for Pandemonium to collect the ball, but immediately it's right back into Owen's possession.
Pandemonium, a few clears now at this point, and you can tell where this team is feeling right now. They just can't seem to get out of that rut. They've been down, they've been out a couple times already, and it can't seem to get into a good groove. Any sort of positive emotion just is sucked away by Midwest Mafia. And Pandemonium Bloodbenders will continue to play on offense. V-Bell will get the bump on Golem as Vibin goes up next. The last 3 minutes to go here as Midwest Mafia staying on the play. Dylan does find Owen. Midwest Mafia holding on to this one as Rocky next to it. V-Bell will be the next to challenge, but Midwest Mafia will need to keep themselves under control.
Yeah, Pandemonium now realizing that they may have a little bit more time than they thought to collect the ball, and they're doing well to prevent it from going right back into the possession of a Midwest Mafia player. There's no follow-up here, though, so Dylan can clear it away, and now, importantly, Midwest Mafia clearing it away from Pandemonium players and towards their own. That allows them to get an offense more often. Owen, though, forced to rush back. Gollum has a little bit of boost here. Will 50 central awkwardly, though. Vibe and Rocky both pushed up for it, so it will have to be a bit of demo avoidance here for that yellow Fennec, Dylan. That's not the touch he was looking for, but in any case, it still works out for Midwest Mafia. It just feels like in the midfield they can do no wrong.
Right now, 2 minutes to go, and Midwest Mafia in full control of the game right now, but Only a 1-goal lead. You know those leads don't last very long, and if Pandamonium can find some demos, find that aggression to break through once again, you know that lead won't last much longer. But Owen looking to extend it again. Vibin will keep it off the back wall. Now goes V-Bell. Rocky facing the wrong direction, does get the pinch away. Now Vibin chase after into the back corner as Pandamonium posture for yet another play upfield. But Owen sends it away. Midwest Mafia have won the midfield so far, and that just does not change. Another challenge won, and every time Pandemonium goes upfield, has some offense, that midfield threatens to remove any hope of coming back in this one.
Yeah, Vibin started to come alive as well in this game. He's starting to pick up the pressure, just might be a little too late. And more often than not, the follow-ups just right back into the waiting arms of another Midwest Mafia defender. Rocky with a lot of space here, just gonna work this one into his possession yet again. Though it's 50 Central and absolutely nobody is there, they're still playing so passive, Pandemonium are, and that's a double whiff on defense, might not even work out for them. So it will be Owen, midfield. It's there for V-Bell. Dylan mistimed his push, though, so it will be low boost for him, and right back into Vibin. I'm going to look for a counterattack, Pandemonium. It's a good cut by Rocky. Nobody there still, in Golem on 0. I mean, they're getting chances to break out, but they can't capitalize.
They can't, and Midwest Mafia only really need 1 goal here to silence all the critics in Game 6. V-Bell off the back wall, maybe 1 or 2 more shots left for Pandemonium if they can get themselves downfield. But right now, that is looking like a huge if, a huge maybe, and a huge chance as Midwest Mafia take it. It's Owen with a second, and surely that ends the series.
They've found their confidence in full, and Owen especially recapturing that form from his playoffs MVP campaign last go around. Just starting to play with a little more presence, that first man doing a little bit more to beat one more defender, and it has allowed Midwest Mafia to take what presumably will be their 3rd straight game and the series at that. This ball racing downfield. I don't think there's enough time left on the clock, Sporty. It feels like Midwest Mafia have cemented their spot in the quarterfinals.
They have our winners from last season, proving that the playoffs really are where they shine. Game 6 is over. The series is over. They've got a match against the Egoists in the semifinals.
If you asked me for the first 4 games of this series, if either of these 2 teams could have taken it to the Egoists, I would have been a little bit skeptical. But this form that Midwest Mafia has shown in games 5 and 6 has been something else entirely, and they are going to be able to put Egoists at least on notice. Certainly able to catch that team off guard.
You said they definitely found their form late in the series, and that's what makes Midwest Mafia so scary, is that even when they don't look amazing, even when they look a bit slow, it doesn't seem to matter. They seem to know what they need to do. Of course, though, we always ask that question of, well, continue to just excel when they need to. For now, just have to see how things go here as Midwest Mafia with the win in that series. And we just have to wait and see how it go here as... And I'm excited to see how things will go. I'm excited to see how these teams perform. But as we've seen so far, Midwest Mafia, they have found form. I still worry, though, because if you know anything about the Egoists, this team is all solo plays, all mechanics, and they're very tough to dispossess. Midwest Mafia are going to need to do even better if they're going to beat them and go to the finals for a 2nd straight season.
Yeah, I think we're going to see in this next series Midwest Mafia very eager to go back to that 3rd-man defense, last-second saves. That's what we're going to see a lot of, and maybe catching Egoists off guard with the counterattack. It feels like that's more of the matchup we're headed towards with how Egoists play. But things could shape out very differently. We saw, I say, 3 different forms for both of these teams throughout this series. Things can evolve very quickly. I think we're in for a banger set of semifinals.
As you said as well, that other semifinals on next night, KCG Chaos will be on Corporal Monkey Shine to stream. So if you want to watch that match, now you know where to find it. But when we go on break, it will be Midwest Mafia versus the Egoists, our number 1 overall team from the start of the season, our number 1 overall team at the end of the season. We go to break, we will have the semifinals for all of you, and we'll have another best of 7, determining our first finalist of the night. For now, we'll go to a break. When we come back, it is semifinals action. Welcome back to the ATS Season 4 House Wyffindor Pinnacle Cup. I'm Sweaty FC, joining me is pyroblocks. You'll hear that again tonight, but for now, it's the semifinals. Midwest Mafia just took down Pandamonium Bloodbenders in a 4-2 series. Our reigning champions continue, but now they have an even tougher matchup on paper. The Egoists are their next opponent, and my goodness, they're a good one, that's for sure. They're scary, they're solid, they came in as our #1 overall team, the only team in this entire group to beat over 2K MMR on average. But Midwest Mafia, they're our previous champions, and we've seen already from last series that knowledge of having won last season, that might help them out here a ton against the Eagles. You said as well, Egoists are going to be more than just a tough task. If you know anything about this Egoist team, they're super mechanical. They're all about vibes. They're all about feeling good, having a good time. This is one of the more relaxed teams I've known of, and for good reason. The play they want to play is all about being able to just kind of hit whatever they want to, and so this team likes mechanics. They like to go for really fun plays. Expect to see a lot of that tonight for this roster, and expect to see them find success. If Midwest Mafia has any hope of beating this team, it's really going to come down to, can you shut down those solo efforts before they really come?
Both teams very vibes based, as you said. So it will be kind of a let's have fun sort of series. We'll see if that mentality plays into anything. The other semifinal happening on Corporal Monkey Star stream, KCG Chaos versus 100x Knight, and also a very interesting matchup between two teams with Knight having a very potent office and Chaos being able to take a series off of them earlier this season. And that's going on Corporal Monkey Star stream. But over here, again, West Mafia Egoists should be a very high octane series, and the early minutes of this one will set the pace.
Corporal Monkey shines, by the way. I think you said Corporal Monkey Stars.
I did. Yeah, my mistake.
To be fair, they both shine, so I'll give you that. But that's all I'm giving you for that one. As we'll continue on. Again, it's semifinals, single elimination. Again, with Midwest Mafia on one side, Knight on the other, there's a real chance right now, and I don't want to curse it, but there's a real chance we might have a repeat of last season's Grand Finals. Here, as Knight Mafia was the Grand Finals last season, where Midwest Mafia won in Game 6. But again, they have to take on the Egoists, and considering the competition that both these teams have to face, Egoists are the heavy favorites right now to win this season. This is a team that's not unused to playoffs, even though they've never played in the Ascent Tournament series before. If you guys know this team, you'll know they played in the Rocket League Splash Series, and in fact, they are in their Cyclone Cup. They're a team that's gotten twice, and in that division, they've gotten second, twice, both times, only losing to Nightja. I'm not joking, only losing to Nightja and company. So, considering that they have only lost to Nightja in that tournament, I think they are heavy favorites here. Considering that they don't seem to lose to very many teams, especially and really only teams of players who are very much RLCS caliber.
Yeah, and Temp especially putting up over a goal a game. I mean, just really solid offense through and through. Assists, not as much of a part of their play style, but they do tend to follow up each other's shots pretty closely, so look for Midwest Mafia to operate out of the counterattack primarily, while Ego is just going to try to apply shot after shot, hoping to break down the defense. It should be a lot of entertaining goal line Rocket League.
Yeah, you said a lot of entertaining Rocket League here, and our quarterfinals was interesting, it was fun, and it was exciting. But of course, as the night goes on, we're going to get a lot of very fun action here, so while we wait on both these rosters to join on in, we are getting a message that Temp is running a little bit late. I knew that this was a possibility coming into this one. You guys said that likely going to be a little bit late to this match because they were planning on the start time in just a few minutes. But while we wait on them, while we wait on everybody to join on in, as we come into this series, Egoists are very much the favorites in this matchup. But again, what comes down to it, as I mentioned, they're a super heavy solo play based team. What it's really going to win this one is going to be that teamwork, and Egoists are definitely known for teamwork, but again, you can't do teamwork better than Midwest Mafia. This team basically wrote the book on how to do teamwork. I'm going to be really interested to see how Egoists play, if they play a team-based style for many points of this series.
Yeah, I mean, when you've been teammates with the same people for so long, you just get a feel of how they play, and especially with Owen, you feel like he understands where his teammates are and where the ball's going to go so well. In the series that these two teams played against each other in the regular season, It was a 3-1 win for Egoists, but Owen put up 1.25 goals a game and a lot of shots to boot as well, somewhere in the realm of 4.5. So Owen did a lot of legwork in that series. He'll probably need to do that again, show up for his team, and recapture that MVP form that he showed us glimpses of against Pandamonium. That's going to be key to Midwest Mafia's success.
Yeah, as you mentioned as well, Midwest Mafia definitely going to have the pressure against them. I don't think they're the favorites in this match, but they have a champion. They have that championship behind them. They're the only team in this group, obviously, who've won a championship, and that was again last season in the Apex. But everybody's in, everybody's ready. Let's start the series here. Our semifinals will begin. Egoists take on Midwest Mafia, and the Egoists of a team of Javi, Extreme to Wins, and Temp. This roster came into this season as the #1 seed under no questions, but they've had their issues. Ending their season 5-2, they're going to need to perform well against Midwest Mafia. The fortunate thing is, all the pain from the regular season is put behind them. All you need to do now is win 2 matches, and you're champions of the division.
Egoists starting quickly in more ways than one, not showing any signs of being cold after Midwest Mafia were able to play I don't want to call it a warm-up series, but they were able to get things stretched out, so to speak, against Pandamonium. And as well as that, the pace of play is very quick as well. That works the Egoists' favor. This one going to be rattling off the post and in for Temp, and already Egoists showing their class early on in Game 1.
Yeah, it's unfortunate too, because Owen got bumped right into V-Bell. And for Midwest Mafia, it's that same issue that we seen earlier in last series. If there was one thing they seem to have consistent issues with that was a bit odd to me, was when they ran into each other, when all the players had the exact same idea of what they wanted to do. Egoists starting off the series in their favor, and again, expect to see a lot of this from the Egoists. This is a very mechanical heavy team, a very solo play heavy team. You're going to be seeing a lot of them really use that high rank that they have to their advantage. Again, the only team in this division that has all players ranked up, that has a team of an average MMR rank above 2K, and they're going to use that to their advantage as Extreme to Wins off the back wall. V-Bell will pinch it away as Midwest Mafia will look to get rid of this one.
And you're seeing already how both these two teams like to play Egoists, very content to stay on the ground in defense and then take things to the air on offense. That's basically asking the question to Midwest Mafia, are you able to put something threatening on my net? So far, they have not been able to. But this team is not exactly deficient of aerial mechanics. They just need to find that one opening. They need to be careful not to overcommit here, though, as Wyffindor almost all the way downfield. Extreme going to drop it down for a couple of players. Let's get cleared back, though. Owen has a wide open net. Can he catch up to this ball with low boost? He can, and Midwest Mafia will tie things up.
And you saw there that Xavi solo effort probably could have gone in, but then they just threw themselves away by that overcommit. And it's an unfortunate time for that to happen because it gives Owen a wide open net. And we're asking, do we get to see that MVP caliber performance from Owen like we had last season in the final brackets? We didn't really get to see it in the first series. We didn't really get to see it from anyone on Midwest Mafia. Everybody kind of played the way that they needed to. But again, the question is going to be who steps up for their roster, who leads their team. Because while I know these players love to mention that there's no such thing as an MVP when a team is playing really, really well, there are players who lead. There are players who definitely like to take those positions. Who's going to do it? And right now, Midwest Mafia finding that control. Dylan takes charge, and V-Bell will take the goal off him.
This is so important for the course of the series. Midwest Mafia need to demand the Egoists' respect, and by doing so much work in the high air above the box, forcing Egoists to now reconsider, okay, maybe we do need to play a little further back, maybe we do need to give them a little space, we can't just cut everything. That allows them to get more work going on offense, and it has put them in the lead in the early stages of Game 1.
Beam to Wins, that's a great first touch. Sets up Xavi. Everybody commits. That net is wide open. Oh, but Tim got bumped out by Extreme to Wins. Egoists knew it was there for them. Midwest Mafia sent everyone on up for that one. And the reason why is because none of them have boost. Dylan running with 20. Now V-Bell with 0. Dylan does take the boost there, but Egoist had them all back with almost nothing in the tank. They're taking the boost away from Midwest Mafia, and that defense is falling apart as a result.
Yeah, I mean, low boost third man for Midwest Mafia has got to be something that they avoid. It was an issue for them against Pandamonium and against an Egoist team that uses up a lot of boost and is much more threatening on each and every one of their chances. You cannot leave somebody isolated and without much resources. Right now, though, Midwest Mafia able to settle down. We can see Owen and Dylan both back on zeros. Could be dangerous. Good bump from V-Bell coming back in the rotation to keep this one non-threatening. But you can see there, Midwest Mafia do need to be a little more cautious. They can't just play super loose, super aggressive, you do have to consider that you will be playing defense at some point, and when you do, you need to be prepared.
And they're going to be playing a lot of defense against the Egoists here as Xavi pinch off the back wall. Oh, it's a miss from V-Bell. Owen doesn't have a lot in the tank, but does keep Extreme to Win's back. Egoists, with all the offense they're playing, I'm surprised that they're still down by 1 goal, but it shows that this Midwest Mafia defense, even if we are saying bad things about them, they're playing well. Admittedly, they're playing very well. Even if we are mentioning the errors that they have, as now they gotta go back to defense again. Oh, you know what? Maybe I curse them, because as soon as I say that their defense was playing well, they overcommit, and the Egoists now tie this game up.
Well, that makes one for each of us, and yeah, this time boost wasn't the problem. It was just getting your hand caught in the cookie jar, and Extreme very happy to walk that one all the way home. Midwest Mafia, they've only made 1 save to Egoist's 6 shots, so that does say that maybe Egoists are just a little bit cold here with their shooting being a bit off the mark. It's not too much cause for concern. Obviously, Midwest Mafia content to be tied right now, but still going to be pressing. Right now, they're doing well to get on offense. Their defense, though, is starting to raise some concerns. The structure of it is not giving me too much confidence.
No, it is, and for Midwest Mafia, playing as defensively as they are, it's going to be a real challenge to keep out the Egoists. As they clear away, and we mentioned this last series, that the way that Midwest Mafia are playing could work against Pandamonium, because Pandamonium wanted to play defensively as well, but against teams that are more aggressive, they're going to have more issues, and right now you can tell the Egoists, they're more aggressive, they want to play more offense, they love offense, and they're not the only team here. Again, Knight on the other side, known for their offense as well. Midwest Mafia have a real challenge ahead of them here as Xavi to the back wall. Dylan gets bumped out of the way, has space to work with. Temp up off the back wall. Owen will be there. As a bounce off the corner. Xavi next to it. That's off the crossbar. The Egoists bringing the iron here, but they're getting closer and closer to leading in this game. One more chance may just be what blows the top off of the blows the lid off this game.
Yeah, and Midwest Mafia, if there was any respect being afforded to them earlier on, it is certainly gone. You can see this Egoist team start to realize that Midwest Mafia, low on boost, very often on defense, not going to be able to be quick to too many of these balls, and they've cut things very aggressively as a result, but this one will drop to overtime, no matter how they got there, both teams still on a level playing field. This one's so important for Midwest Mafia, especially they need to take this game to give themselves a good shot. This time they are the underdogs, and taking early games is what you need to do against teams that are starting slow. Temp, though, with some room here. Needed to get a double tap, a little bit ill-fated, though. V-Bell content to ping this downfield. Extreme, that's a double commit with Xavi. Could have been a chance for a goal there, but nothing going. Demo across. Dylan being harassed, too. Xavi with another look. Chaos in front of the orange box, but ultimately Midwest Mafia come out unscathed.
Is, and maybe they can find game 1 with this one as Owen, back wall over 2, it's in front, but Xavi's first to it. Dylan will go up, and he's going to take his time, waiting, still waiting, and he's lost the challenge to Extreme to Wins. Maybe a bit too confident there, Midwest Mafia, as they give the ball away. Now goes Temp, little play off the back, off the sidewall. Xavi, second touch, Temp's going to beat him! Egoists take it! Game 1 is over!
Against a team as mechanically consistent as Egoists, you catch yourself wanting to get a jump on everything in there. Dylan went up a little bit too early, didn't think that Xavi had another touch coming down off the ceiling, and it was just too late once he got it. Free open net there at the end of the game for Temp, and Egoists ultimately will come out with a victory.
Game 1 goes to the favorites. Egoists looking to dethrone our current champions, but it's only one game. We still have a long way to go before we can name any champions at this point. But hey, game 1, and we were getting what we expected from the Egoists. A lot of mechanics, keeping themselves on offense, forcing the defense of the Midwest Mafia side to play to their absolute limits. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath if this series continues.
Yeah, and I mean, there is just inevitably RNG with shooting and how things are positioned, but take all of that away, and Egoists were the better team. You can see them putting on 9 shots to Midwest Mafia's 3, and as well as giving 7 demos to Midwest Mafia's 1, and that's real cause for concern for me as well, as when Egoists are already pulling out all the tricks out of their bag here. And Midwest Mafia, I mean, they're withstanding it for the most part, but it did feel like gas was starting to run out in terms of getting anything going down the other end.
They just couldn't get out of defense very easily, and when they did, they didn't have the boost to challenge. Egoists, again, they're such a high-ranked team, they're going to utilize that against anyone they play against. That includes Midwest Mafia, as they are holding on desperately to hope of winning yet another season. The Egoists stand in their way, and it's not like these teams haven't played each other before. Again, they have played each other, and Egoists generally the better team in most matchups. Midwest Mafia are gonna have to really do something impressive to find a win here, and maybe do something that generally doesn't happen often. As Dylan gonna get the offense started, Owen jumps in, and it's a good start for Midwest Mafia. But again, we need to see more from that. We need to see more offense, more shots, and we just need to see them find ways to find follow-up efforts that are actually worth shooting.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Dylan especially. He's been a little bit uncomfortable for the entirety of tonight, and I really want to see him get something going mechanically, just to really wake him up, give him some confidence back. That's going to be key to Midwest Mafia. They need all three players firing right now, and right now it just seems like it's mostly Owen and Vbel on defense, and just as I say that, Owen, it's right over the top of his head. Temp taking advantage of a good pass here from Javi to Extreme. Maybe a little bit of an incidental there, but either way it works out, and Egoists another early lead.
And I was asking, how is Egoists going to play? Are they going to utilize teamwork? And I think they have now answered that question with a resounding yes. Teamwork going to be utilized, and, well, now things are going to get really sticky for Midwest Mafia, because if Egoists weren't going to go for a teamwork-based stuff, if they weren't feeling good enough to go for that, I think Midwest Mafia has a much better chance. Now it's going to be a lot tougher for them, because Egoists are going to be playing in many ways that Midwest Mafia wants to play against them. And the Egoists are going to utilize that here. As another play in front, Vbel will clear, as the Egoists will take control again, going back to their own half. And I like that the Egoists are playing that way. They're not trying to force offense. They're not trying to play up high. They have no problem going back to defense, going back to their own half, as long as they keep possession.
And Midwest Mafia, they're able to still hold the midfield with a couple of last-second touches, but when the boost runs low, inevitably you're just going to be caught in an uncomfortable situation. Extreme there, almost able to pop it over the top, but well handled by Owen to clear it away. Dylan, again, caught too far forward. Midwest Mafia layering on offense when they're just trying to break out, and it's cost them the ability to stay consistent ahead of the ball. That one's a big miss from Extreme. Could have been 2-0. Instead, it will be Temp just trying to keep things forward for Egoists. Down to Extreme, trying to throw the change up, but it will be saved away. At least a little bit less panic there for Midwest Mafia, but they're still up against it here.
As Chavi, Extreme to wins, will instead go for the boost. Midwest Mafia will take possession by choice from the Egoists here, but every touch and every time they get upfield, you can tell just not enough boost to make something happen. As a missed touch from Vbel, it will go back to Owen, but again, they just can't keep possession here as Egoists continue to challenge, continue to throw that ball into the orange half, continue to search for something as Extreme to wins. Off the back wall, gets the bump. Owen's got the save. Vbel's got to help him out. Here goes Temp off the back wall. No one can go as the Egoists barreling in. Somehow no goals scored there, but it's only a matter of time before they take another. Midwest Mafia in absolute desperation.
Yeah, 0-0 there on defense. Never something you want to see. They do get away with it there, but how many more are they going to be able to play their get-out-of-jail-free card for? They got to get something down the other end to at least slow down this momentum for Egoists and get themselves to a fighting chance. Staying within one is good. Obviously, you need to be tied at some point in the game. Temp rerouting himself to that ball. Vbel now will find Dylan. He's got good control as well. Looks for the bump, finds it. Now it's Vbel again. Javi last back has to go for a squishy save. Owen picking his spot perfectly, and there you go for Midwest Mafia. 1-2-3 to get them back tied in game number 2.
I love Dylan's choice to go for the bump. He knows he's not going to get much else. He knows he's not going to win the 50-50. The ball's too far ahead of him. Instead, just goes for the bump, gets rid of the player, leaves it up to his teammates, and lets them do what they need to do. Midwest Mafia have now evened up this game, but as I said again, it felt like a matter of time before the Eagles were going to get a goal. Gotta give credit to Midwest Mafia for not losing sight on the play. Those counterattacks, few and far between, but they gotta make them count. As another play in front, it may be Egoist on the board again, but this one saved away. Another chance for Extreme to wins. Vbel taken out of play there by Extreme as Chavi. Temp dunked by Owen as the Egoists will continue to challenge, but now they've overcome it. That net is open, and Owen puts it on target, but it is saved away. Midwest Mafia have control, have offense, but the Egoists not looking to make the same mistake twice.
Yeah, I mean, that was just such a difficult angle for Owen to get around to, and that is the first double commit I think I've seen out of the Egoists. Javi, though, 0 boost for the double, finds it. Oh my goodness. I mean, just picks the pockets of Dylan. Never saw him coming, and even with almost nothing in the tank, makes it look so easy. 111 kilometers per hour, and Egoist back in the lead.
111 kilometers per hour while hitting it off his wheels, by the way. Egoists with a 1-goal lead. And with 66 seconds to go, now Midwest Mafia scrambling back into position and back into a more aggressive type mode. Dream to wins, trying to find goal 3 for the Egoists. Chavi, very hesitant on defense, will opt not to go. Right decision there, considering that if he did go, he was going to be beaten regardless as Extreme to wins. Temp. Now Chavi gets past one, the back wall. Owen can't get this one. And that's why V-Bell's there to help. And now Temp's going to race back. Challenge over Dylan, but V-Bell to nets. Owen will keep it wide. Wisp for Extreme to wins. It's resting in front. Nothing will be broken through, though. And Midwest Mafia will need another chance to score on.
I like the idea there, but it just needs to be a little more indirect. It feels like when you're trying to get the ball downfield, oftentimes you're trying to just start offense by shooting it on target. You sometimes just need to beat the man challenging you. A lot of the time, Egoists are diving to meet these counterattack balls before they can even get in a dangerous position. Once Midwest Mafia start reading that, they'll have a little more fortune, but right now, their fortune is starting to run out in game number 2. They need to find a goal here, and it's just not at the right end of the field at all. Here's Dylan, though, with some boost, gonna take it high off the ceiling. Everybody going here for Egoists. Will it stay up? It will. Could be there for Midwest Mafia, but no boost for V-Bell. Still kept up by Owen, or sorry, by Dylan. Now it will be Dylan once again. Ball still in the air, another touch by Dylan. Surely this one's gonna hit the ground now. Owen forward, Temp just trying to slow it down, and he will drop it to ground. Egoists able to take a 2-0 lead in the series.
Yeah, it is, and again, Egoists doing well to not only take the lead, but continue to keep themselves in that lead. Midwest Mafia are going to play close just by the fact that they're Midwest Mafia and their defense is that strong. But again, I think what's really going to be important about this game is the shooting averages. 11-5. Egoists are doubling the output of Midwest Mafia right now. No defense, no defense, no matter how good, is going to be able to win when the shot difference is that high. Egoists are going to win just by the amount of chances they're taking. For Midwest Mafia, we need to see more offense, and we need to see especially more midfield.
I mean, these goals have been coming there when you have 2-3 players with boost in space, and you can only control the in-space factor of that so much, but you need to make sure that when those opportunities present yourself, you have multiple players ready and boosted to make a play on the ball. Especially if West Mafia is going to rely on these first chance counterattacks to go through, you need to be there to take advantage of each and every single one of them, as when you're playing low generation offense, you're not getting that many shots on the board. They just need to be that much better.
5 more minutes on the clock here. The Egoists, well, now in a very good position, but Owen, right off the kickoff. Egoists took a chance playing the aggressive kickoff, and it did not pay off.
Well, I will say that for West Mafia, as much as they've had their struggles, they just will not die in each and every one of these games. They are forcing Egoists to work for it. But you wonder at some point how much that's going to start to weigh on them if you're playing these long games and long series. Your mental can start to deteriorate. Obviously, we know Midwest Mafia capable of lasting throughout the night, and here is Dylan once again to double up Midwest Mafia's lead, something that they have desperately needed and could not come at a better time. Another kickoff goal here. Maybe just a little bit too cute for the Egoists.
Egoists having a little bit of issues at the kickoff, and again, every time they're going for the kickoff, they're trying to play aggressive. They have that player in the backfield pushing very high up, almost up to the mid-boost height, and when you take that kind of risk, you need to win the kickoff, or at the very least, have the kickoff go neutral so that you can react in time. They haven't, and Midwest Mafia continues to take advantage. Owen with goal free, and this is the best start Midwest Mafia have had all night, and they better hope it stays this way.
I mean, bursting out of nowhere this time, they're reading Extreme's change-up touch, and immediately it turns into a counter. Owen is there on the ground, and a little bit too aggressive from the last man as well for Egoists. Maybe getting a little bit too happy with how they've played and forgetting that Midwest Mafia can still pack quite a punch if you let them. Dylan trying to find the redirect there. But this is obviously very good for Midwest Mafia, and the fact they might find a fourth, oh my goodness, that is an insane touch from Dylan. Just so much finesse on it to sneak that one into the top shelf.
I don't know how he gets the kind of power on that, while also making sure that he doesn't shoot it off the crossbar. Midwest Mafia, 4 goals now, and I beg your pardon, I think only 34 seconds has passed so far. Midwest Mafia, where was this the entire part of the series? What happened in this game? It's as if a switch flipped, and now Egoists can't seem to stop them. Midwest Mafia finding offense, not just finding offense, they're scoring on it too. Every chance they're getting, they are putting in the back of the nets, and Egoists, they look completely lost, and that is something that you don't hear me say often.
It just feels like it's on demand now. The volume's starting to pick up. The conversion rate is nearing 100% at this point in the game. I mean, already 4 for 5, and we've just passed the minute barrier. Midwest Mafia on pace for 20 goals this game. I'm sure that will slow down, but Egoists, they just seem to be now a little more frenzied with the ball, and Midwest Mafia, they're challenging quicker. It's starting to cause some problems. Owen there to dive for the save. Well done past another bumping defender. And here's another counter-attack chance. Dylan with quite a musty there, but ultimately it will be collected. Egoists starting to get themselves into a calmer spot, but definitely a bit of an odd start to game number 3 considering how the past 2 games have gone.
Has been an odd start so far as the Egoists will go back, but it's not a great touch here. Dylan stopped by Temp as he'll recover off the side of his net. Extreme to wins next to it, and one-on-one, that's where the Egoists can shine, but they won't get many easy chances. Still in front, this one is rolling. What a touch from V-Bell. That is a huge risk because he shot it back to his own net, but it was far better than leaving it. The Egoists would have scored otherwise. V-Bell, that's a true captain's effort, knowing what touch you can make, even when it's one that feels like you shouldn't be making.
Yeah, and I mean, just complete zero boost once again for this Midwest Mafia defense, but now this time, these frenzy last-second defensive heroics are impactful, and it's keeping them with this 4-goal lead. They're holding onto it with a death grip as if this is Game 7 and the ball cannot touch the ground. So, I mean, good work from them to get onto offense more often. The defense just as solid as it has been. I mean, this is exactly what they were looking for.
Yeah, they needed it. This is a turnaround for Midwest Mafia, as half the game still to go, and while the scoring hasn't picked up, it hasn't picked up either for the Egoists here. Midwest Mafia happy to just keep the lead as it is, but Egoists, their hope is for a comeback. And Extreme to wins, finds Chavi, or at least he should have been, but Chavi missed the chance. And the Egoists will need to go again. Extreme to wins, V-Bell sent up for Dylan as Midwest Mafia will go the other way. V-Bell stopped by Temp. The Egoists just keeping possession, keeping that control, but it is Midwest Mafia on the ball as Dylan, Chavi, up the sidewall. V-Bell won't have an easy touch there as it's cleared away. Extreme to wins, and it's V-Bell who will collapse onto this one. And Midwest Mafia continuing to shut down the Egoists, and at this point for the Egoists, you can tell they're throwing more players upfield, more upfield. They know they've got to start a comeback, and if they're going to start it, they have to start it soon.
What we're seeing right now is the recipe for success for Midwest Mafia. They've been much more aggressive at cutting off these midfield chances for Egoists, but they've been much more patient on defense as well, not panicking, and that has allowed them to not only take this 4-goal lead, but also prevent Egoists from scoring at all. And it is working wonders, even though Egoists, they haven't been starved of chances, but each and every time they do, they are denied. This one will go through from Extreme, though, and this game not quite over. But Midwest Mafia is starting to show some cracks in their armor.
And I love that pass from Chavi, too. I mean, it's completely unassuming. You don't expect that kind of power from that kind of touch, but Chavi proves that it's possible, and it's Extreme to win, so we'll pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, Midwest Mafia demanding that these Egoist chances be a little bit better to score on them, and right now it has worked out, and we'll take some adjustment from the Egoist, probably back to a more solo play heavy style of game. They've been much more keen to play a lot of infield passes, and it has worked, but now the Midwest Mafia not sending too many defenders at the ball, not panicking. You want to look to see more of an individual effort for each of these players.
Temp will rise to the occasion. The Egoists just trying to find any way to recover like a phoenix from the ashes. Can they rise when the pressure is high? Well, a chance for Extreme to wins will be stopped short by V-Bell. As in the midfield they go, but no one really wanted to challenge this. Temp will take it. Well, that's where he falls into the trap. Midwest Mafia were waiting. Now that the Egoists have pulled themselves out, they can go for the ball. With 30 seconds to go, all they gotta do is just hold on to this lead for a little bit longer. Owen, Chavi, with space, but he doesn't really have an option out here, will be stopped by Dylan, and as Temp jumps in, the Egoists just can't win possession, can't take chances. Midwest Mafia, I mean, it was a little bit of a worry at the start of the series for them. Those first 2 games were not all that positive, but Game 3, an amazing start, 4 goals in the first 34 seconds. If we can see more of that from the Midwest Mafia side, they may just upset the Egoists.
Yeah, I mean, these swings in play style have been so drastic, but I think Midwest Mafia have found a recipe that works for them. This time, the shooting differential is in their favor, and given how strong their defense has been, it has led to a blowout game number 4, or game number 3, rather. We're going to need to still take game number 4 to have an even chance at the series. Obviously, going down 1-3 is still a tough task to face, but given how they were both able to take that lead early and hold Egoists at bay, do like their odds much better. I am a little worried that the offensive production did stop. It feels like Egoists settled down and things were much harder to score on again, but seems like we're starting anew from a momentum perspective.
Yeah, it definitely does feel that way as Midwest Mafia will look to keep the positives of Game 3 in the back of their mind now that we're on Sovereign Heights. But Egoists can't keep this team out forever, and you definitely can't shut out this team, or even keep those kind of leads on this team forever. They're going to find ways to score. Midwest Mafia just need to make sure that they keep that shooting accuracy and that shooting average up as high as they can. As Dylan, V-Bell trying to run right through Temp, but he'll get away from this one. The Egoists have room, and they actually have a player in the midfield in Xavi. Extreme to Win jumped in as well. It's an overcommit. It's a race to the ball. Xavi will be there first, as the Egoists nearly got caught in an overcommit.
Yeah, it's more early game jitters for the Egoists as Midwest Mafia. I mean, that's another miss there from Dylan. They've been fairly shaky themselves, but it seems like Extreme to Wins especially is just a little nervy whenever he's last man trying to jump in a lot of these balls, cut them off. Maybe the communication not as fluid as it has been earlier on in the series, and it's allowed Midwest Mafia to stay level and find more gaps in the defense. V-Bell not with a lot of boost. This is another issue for Midwest Mafia that I'm noticing. Their first man struggling to have enough in the tank to really make a play. Here's Owen. Will have something himself and does find it downfield, nobody covering it, so it will be a chance to get into offense. Here's V-Bell, good touch high, looking for the bump on Extreme to Wins. Good presence of mind from him to keep it high and just take another 50 down. A double commit there, super unnecessary. Maybe both teams starting to feel the effects of the series as this one wears on.
It definitely is, and you mentioned as well that that first player up does need boost, and it's because when you're that first player up, you're not really focused on scoring, you're not really focused on creating something. All you're really focused on is beating that first player, beating one, maybe beating two. To do that, you need boost, and you need the element of surprise and the element of options. When you don't have the boost, you don't have many options, and you aren't able to beat that first player out very easily. And for Midwest Mafia, that's the issue that we're seeing when they don't have that boost. When they're taking on the field, the Egoists know they don't have options, and they have no problem setting up a player of their own to take the challenge and to eliminate any opportunities. The worst thing that the Egoists could do is give Midwest Mafia space. They haven't done that, and it's making life very tough for our Season 3 champions.
Yeah, this ball has been on the blue side of the field a little more often, so maybe starting to realize Midwest Mafia trying to just catch them off guard, so Egoists a little comfortable playing at least one man on the backboard there to cut things off. You can see these aggressive challenges, the aggressive second man cuts from Midwest Mafia starting to be read out by the Egoists. A lot of the time just leaving a man sent forward with zero boost and no chance of the ball, though Midwest Mafia still managing to find pressure, and another double commit will leave Xavi in a tough spot. Does find the follow and a boost pad at that, and another dunk. Dylan left on zero. Now off the sidewall. It's actually floating in front of an open net for a second. Xavi has to race back. We'll leave it for Extreme. Dylan there to cut it off, and Dylan has been, I'd say, the most aggressive in terms of those second man cuts from Midwest Mafia, though we see Dylan there again diving early, and now V-Ball has to clean things up. Very awkward for him. Midwest Mafia, they're making a couple more mistakes, but it seems like Egoists, with that extra respect, are also giving Midwest Mafia more time to recover.
Yeah, it is. And Midwest Mafia, what a touch! Xavi, oh, what a huge recovery. Got back on defense. The Egoists were completely caught on that play, but with one touch, Xavi gets rid of it. And we stay scoreless on Game 4. The Egoists one goal away, potentially, from taking triple match point in our semifinals. Of course, they need that time and they need that goal. 90 seconds left. No one scored just yet. One chance could be all that these teams need as a play in the midfield. Extreme to Wins can't go for it. And the Egoists now will continue their challenge. Midwest Mafia, all of them pushed up. Xavi, it's in front, and he's missed his chance. It will stay wide, and the Egoists know they should have taken that one.
Once again, Midwest Mafia getting a little too antsy and going too quickly, but Egoists not anticipating that, and I mean, don't blame them. You normally expect those touches to be found by the Midwest Mafia side, but in any case, the shot is a little slow to the ball, and it does result in this game still being tied and level. Temp finding a demo. It's not, the shot's not on target though. Dylan collecting, pinching with Owen as well. Extreme to Wins. This one's going to be high. Now you start to think for Egoists, you know, we brush it off in games 1 and 2. They're high volume. They're not converting a lot of these chances. Maybe some of them are just going to go wide some of the time. This one from Xavi finally will find the back of the net. As, you know, inevitably, even if you are struggling with your shooting accuracy, if you just put enough on target, they will go through, and Extreme to Wins has to feel a little glad that his effort was not in vain, as Midwest Mafia now forced to chase this 1-goal lead.
Mafia have been playing the way they need to, but they have not been playing good enough to beat the Egoists. They've made mistakes. They've been playing too much defense against them. And while their defense has been admittedly very impressive, they need goals! And who's gonna bring them but the captain himself? V-Bell fires one in. Midwest Mafia needed it.
Just such a bizarre series, it feels like. where Egoists, they're struggling to convert on a lot of their chances. Midwest Mafia is sticking on defense and finding these goals seemingly out of nowhere. Off the kickoff there, just felt like there was no chance, and it went in anyways. And now with some space for Dylan as well, this could be some motion on offense from Midwest Mafia, but Extreme dunks it through, and there the overcommit comes back to bite them. Just this extremely confident dive that Egoists have been desperately needing at some point. They find it through even maybe a pinch off of Dylan's car as well. Will sneak under the crossbar, and that 1-goal lead restored just like that.
And I gotta say, that was absolutely dirty from Extreme to Wins. He had no reason to go for that challenge, and Eddie knows Midwest Mafia have not done very well at getting that ball past that midfield line. Now they gotta do it here and more. Owen does do so. Chavi will keep out the first effort as Temp goes across net. It's a pass to Owen! V-Bell! Tie game! He's done it again!
And just the composure from this championship winning squad on full display. Owen forgoing the corner boost, forgoing the shot, just finding V-Bell instantly, catching this Egoist defense off guard. They find yet another last-second goal, and they send themselves to yet another overtime. They dropped the first in game number 1. Will they be able to tie up the series here?
Game 4, overtime, running. Can the Egoists take match points? Temp will hold on to this one. Now goes Dylan off the back wall. Chavi clear away as V-Bell's gonna wait on this. Midwest Mafia, the momentum really is on their side. The kickoff is on their side. Feels like, well, everything is on their side right now. But the Egoists taking their time, playing it slow, letting their mechanics, letting that skill really show itself here. But Midwest Mafia just wait for another chance. Egoists will win the 50-50 as Owen. He'll go back for this. Does get the foot past Extreme to Wins, but Temp has this one. And as you can tell, a slow march upfield for the Egoists. Not playing too fast, trying to play for speed. Just playing for time, playing for control, and playing for that one opportunity that could unlock the chance to win the series in 5 games.
Yeah, I mean, Owen has got to feel a little frustrated. He's cleared the ball out a couple of times, but then he gets demoed immediately, no follow available, and Egoists get to apply a little bit more pressure. Here's going to be another chance. This time he does get it away cleanly, so Midwest Mafia able to break out. Going to hand it off to V-Bell. Maybe a bit of miscommunication there, though. Will allow this one to stay in the blue corner. Extreme to Wins. Good composure to 50 with Dylan. Now it will be Javi looking for Temp. V-Bell up very early for this one, though, and it will be a clear downfield. This one actually could be on target. Temp, good job to get back to that one with speed. Could have been dangerous, Midwest Mafia. You can see them eager to find the counter. Egoists eager to find this goal. They have to feel like they deserve. They have to feel like this win. They should have already gotten it. Instead, they are 1 minute and 40 seconds into an overtime that happened at the very last second. We'll see if they are able to collect themselves and find that go-ahead goal.
Egoists continue here as we're nearing the 2-minute mark in this overtime. Just one chance is all these teams need, but nothing's really showing for anybody. Chavi, Dylan, it's an awkward touch, but does connect with V-Bell. Temp has no boost, will throw one off the back wall. Owen will wait behind as Chavi goes, but not enough to get another touch. Dylan's got room. It's off the sidewall. Midwest Mafia will take this one, but not exactly a confident position to be in, and not exactly imposing very much. As a whiff on the defensive side, it's fallen through. Extreme to Win's given credit. He must have found a way through as Chavi completely faked out Midwest Mafia. And after over 2 minutes of gameplay, the Egoists have triple match points.
I mean, Javi's just jumping and screaming, hey, look at me, I'm going to hit the ball, and everybody freezes on the Midwest Mafia side. There's no contact made, and Egoists, at the end of the day, it took fending off a 0-second effort in that overtime, but ultimately, they will come out with a 3-1 series lead, and there is the tactical timeout from Midwest Mafia. Going to need to take a moment to think things over. Definitely a solid game from them, considering how the rest of this series has gone, but they do need to just get that one more thing unlocked. They need to break out a defense a little more.
It is, and I mean, we were bound to see one eventually here. Midwest Mafia, the first time in their history, they're going to call a timeout in Ascent Tournament Series history. And while they're doing that, we got to talk as well about the other side of the bracket. We haven't mentioned them, but 125 Knight right now, leading 3-0 in their series against KCG Chaos. So they're in Game 4 with a chance to go to the Grand Finals for a second straight season. They're looking pretty good. They're looking pretty solid. It really does feel like if the Egoists, if they can get one more game, 100 Knight might be their next matchup.
I mean, yeah, we're either set for a matchup between the number 1 and number 2 seeds or a rematch of last season's championship, so whichever way you slice it. certainly some good gameplay ahead, but Midwest Mafia trying to avoid falling in game 5 to the Egoists. They've given this one a hell of a shot, but they do need just to find that little bit more. It feels like Owen has been doing so much legwork on defense, but ultimately they break out only about 1 in every 4 times he's able to beat one man trying to take the ball out. There's just got to be a little something more to generate more chances.
It feels like there hasn't been enough from the Midwest Mafia offense, and well, as we are going through this timeout, you know that they're going to be talking. I think more so than anything, they're not really talking too much. They're just trying to see if they can reset any momentum from the Egoists. They know this team's on fire. They know this team is playing well. You want to slow that down at all costs when you're playing in a series like this, when you're playing in a game like this. Get the wins and slow down your opponents when you need to. For now, though, we wait in for game 5 here as, again, a few more seconds here to talk things out. Midwest Mafia, the pressure's on them. Our champions from last season. Can they find a way to survive in the semifinals?
Yeah, I mean, they've pulled off 3 straight game wins before against Pandamonium just an hour ago, but they will need some more magic here, as they have not been down and out in this series, but they have been a step behind. They're going to look to rejuvenate themselves after the timeout, see if they can bring some fire.
Midwest Mafia using their one and only tactical timeout they have this series, and well, it's when they're at their most desperate here. 1 game away from being dethroned as the top team in the Ascend Tournament Series. Xavi, and Extreme to Wins, and Temp have all led the Egoists at different times. Now they look to book a ticket to our championship and to a guaranteed spot with a little bit of our $300 prize pool. Temp pushing the midfield as V-Bell will be first to it. Now goes Dylan off the side wall. Left in front as Owen will be there, but Extreme to Wins will wait behind. Off the corner, Temp, can he get there? He will, but V-Bell takes him out. And the Egoists, you can tell, slowing things down initially here. Gonna keep calm, gonna keep time. I think right now they're waiting to see what the Midwest Mafia will change in game 5.
And Midwest Mafia coming out with some extra aggression. That shot by Owen saved away. Now look at the boost totals here for the Egoists. Just Temp with a lot in the tank, and he just double committed with Xavi. In field, looks like another double commit for Midwest Mafia. Extreme with enough in the tank to keep this one going. V-Bell Central. Extreme once again called into action. Midwest Mafia getting a lot of pressure on target, but it does feel very jumpy from them. Clearly increasing the chaos that they're causing in order to increase the chance that they're able to score. If they do get on the board first, I'd say it works for them, but it does make them more likely to concede as well.
Definitely does, as this is up the sidewall. Temp will leave it as Extreme to Wins will challenge, and by the way, we have been given confirmation a 4-0 sweep for Hunter X Knights, so they're already in the grand finals. Whoever wins this series will be playing against them, will be playing against last season's runners-up, as the Egoists will look to challenge once more. Temp to the corner, second touch. Dylan will wait behind, but no chance really finding their way through. With 3 minutes to go, no goals just yet, but a chance is brewing. An infield pinch to go for Midwest Mafia. Extreme to Wins off the back wall. No one wants to go for it. A botched attempt. Extreme to Wins going for the pass when he really should have gone for the shot.
I mean, just it feels like we're getting closer and closer to an Egoist goal every time they get on offense, but Midwest Mafia, they have held more pressure this game, kind of trading that high conversion rate for a little more volume. And if you're trying to at least keep Egoists off the board, I'd say that's the right play there. And that's a big miss on the back line. I don't know what happened there, but either way, Owen says thank you very much. Very happy to get on the board first here from Midwest Mafia. It just looks like Temp, I don't know what happened there. Maybe just misplayed the ball, couldn't find the angle on it. Snuck right past him. A good shot from Owen as well, tucked far post. So a bit of a breather here from Midwest Mafia.
Yeah, definitely it is. A little a lead to hold in game 5. The tactical timeout has done enough to slow down the Egoists. But you can't just slow down this team if you're going to beat them. You're going to need to do a little bit more than that. As Xavi off the corner, Extreme to Wins, and that should have gone in. The back post was open, and Xavi knew that one. He left it to Extreme to Wins, but the shot wasn't there. Now he goes again. Oh, away from Owen! Oh, that's a routine save, and he knows it. A huge mistake, and this game is tied.
But both teams trading defensive errors, and this one has got to be especially painful given how game number 4 ended for Midwest Mafia. Owen just holding the arrow button a little too long and flipping out of the path of the ball. So right back to level, both teams making a couple of big errors. It will not matter ultimately. In the grand scheme of things, you wipe those ones off the board, they cancel each other out. For Midwest Mafia, though, they must be feeling a little bit worse for wear as a result. Need to be careful on defense here as well. V-Bell taking a couple 50s, but they were gifted a lead and they've given it back just as easy. We'll need to get something going on offense. Good wall dash from Owen to get this one downfield. Temp not making contact either. This could be there free for Dylan. It's well high and a hard read for V-Bell as well. It's be dropped on target, a bump coming through, but saved away by Extreme. West Mafia getting some more offense going, but ultimately just isn't good enough.
It is another even game that's close until the very last moments, but here we see overtime again. I mean, our last game went to overtime, and it was a long battle before the Egoists were eventually able to find that goal through a fake in front of the net. Midwest Mafia, our previous champions, trying to stay alive in the final bracket. Chavi, back wall, left free as Dylan will be next to it. Here goes Temp, has the play, but Owen will be there first. Now goes Extreme to wins. Off the sidewall, stopped by Dylan as Chavi will be up for it. Tap to the nets, saved by Owen. And the Egoists will try to stay on this one as minutes ago, both teams tied. Overtime, not on the card at this point. You can't count it out. We've had it oftentimes, many times already so far tonight. But does it reappear once more with Egoists only one win away from being in the grand finals and knocking down the team that won last season?
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like whenever Dylan's up in the air, I'm holding my breath a little bit. He's been a very chaotic presence on offense and defense for good and for bad for Midwest Mafia this game. And here's another dive. Owen will spawn well and just bring that one downfield. This one's actually been left open. Extreme has to extend back for it. But it just feels like Midwest Mafia playing with fire right now, trying to get something going, and they are getting more chances. They just need to be careful on defense, which they have been so far, to their credit, besides for the one misplay. I think this one is bounding overtime. I think both teams want to score before then. I don't think either's going to be able to break the deadlock. Of course, V-Bell having something to say about it. Infield to Dylan, backboard, Temp waiting there already. But it is still received by Owen, looking for a pass in field. Extreme, that's not the he was looking for. V-Bell, another 0-second chance perhaps, but it will drop to the ground just off target. Egoists golden goal to take the series.
And I thought I was getting flashbacks of last game there when V-Bell scored with no time left on the clock to tie things up. But we go to overtime for yet another game, and with Corporate Monkey Signs in the chat, we gotta say it, this is FTC for the content. Egoists and Midwest Mafia, and if the Egoists score here, they're in the grand finals against 100X Knights. But if Midwest Mafia does so, their hope of being in the grand finals for a second straight season, winning again, is still alive. But the Egoists have been the better team in overtime so far. They just won last game in a long overtime as well. And a lot of it comes down to the fact that they are willing to take their time, they're willing to play slowly, they're willing to just play for opportunities. They don't need that many of them to score. That's the difference between them and Midwest Mafia. Once Egoist starts getting chances, starts getting shots, it's only a matter of time before they find that goal. Midwest Mafia have to score before Egoist start adding up that pressure.
Yeah, Egoists have been fairly bunched up at the start of this overtime. They're starting to spread out a little more, though, get a little more comfortable. Good touch over from Owen, but no chance for anybody in Midwest Mafia to follow this one, so right down to Temp. Whiffy there. Could be a chance for Javi trying to line up a double tap. It's going to be just off target. Could have been the series right there and then. Instead, it will be Owen trying to keep Midwest Mafia alive with a solo play of his own, but Temp is there to take it away. You can see now these teams starting to rely a little more on their own mechanics and their own prowess to keep things in their way, and it has allowed for a more back and forth overtime to develop. Not a lot of pressure being held, a lot of end-to-end Rocket League. Just seems like the dam's going to burst at any moment for either team.
It is, but last game took a little while. This game also taking a while. It's like a pregnant pause in this semifinals. We're just waiting and holding our breath to see if the Egoists will be in the grand finals, or if Midwest Mafia have a little bit more to say, a little bit more life in them. They've been kicking all series long. They have not gone down quietly, but Egoists, coming in as the favorites, have proven why they beat this team before and why they look to beat them again. Dylan, Temp, the challenge, a bump, a goal, Chavi, and the Egoists will take on Nay in the grand finals.
Just eventually something was going to break, and it just another ball side rotation for Midwest Mafia that cost them here. Owen has to stretch across the net, and it just was too little, too late. They put on a very strong performance and came on late in both of these past two games, but ultimately Egoists showing why they took the win earlier in the season and why they are the #1 seed. They will advance to the grand finals.
As you said, grand finals now for Knight and for the Egoists, our #1 overall team, proving that it feels like nothing and nobody can stop them right now. Our grand finals is set here at pyroblocks. Egoists and 100X Knight are top 2 seeds. Find their way here, and with pretty impressive wins as well. The Knights winning with a 4-0 sweep. I don't think we should be too surprised about who's showing up now. But the question now is, who will win. When they played each other in the regular season, it was a rather close series. Knights known to play really close against a lot of their opponents, and well, they did. We're one of the 2 teams that beat the Egoists in the regular season, doing so in a 5-game series. Our grand finals up next, our championship up next. With both these teams playing as well as they are, what do you say before we go to break?
Just gonna have to wait and see. Stay on the edge of your seat. We got plenty of great action ahead of us right after the break.
And welcome back to the ATS Season 4 House Wyffindor Pinnacle Cup. The Grand Finals is here, and we have quite a matchup. 100X Knight, for a second straight season in a row, are in the Grand Finals. But they're not the favorites this match. It's the Egoists on the other side of the bracket. We just saw take down our previous champions in Midwest Mafia 4-1 Knight, having won against KCG Chaos, and a 4-0 sweep on Corporal Monkey Signs' stream. Welcome back in, pyroblocks. Welcome back in to all of you. We've got a Grand Finals, and right now, honestly, this is the match that everybody was expecting, and I think it's living up to the hype.
The one thing you hope for as a fan, just as a viewer of the ATS, is that you get these barn burner Grand Finals, and I don't think we could be any better set up for one than right now. And the one thing you hope for as a player as well is being able to lift that trophy. 100X Knight, they've been able to taste it before ATS Glory. Now they are one step away from that, but in their past, the Egoists just so solid the entire season through and through. Just a couple of blemishes on their record. It is going to be one heck of a series tonight.
In the regular season, these teams went to Game 5 against each other. Knights got the improbable win that kickstarted a bit of a downturn for Egoists in the middle of their regular season, but as we've seen already, what happens in the regular season doesn't always happen again in the doesn't always happen here in this final brackets. And at this point, these players don't care. It's a $300 prize pool up for grabs for everyone here. It's 200 to first, 100 to second. And for both these teams, I've already guaranteed a little bit of that prizing, but you know, for Knight, and especially for Perry, who was on this team last season, he's going to want to take that win, something that eluded him last season when he couldn't get it in the Grand Finals.
Yeah, and it would have tasted that much sweeter against Midwest Mafia, but Ego is still tough competition, and ultimately claiming that crown is all that you can really hope for and all that you could really want. Yeah, and Perry especially, just so much at stake for him personally, being able to avenge that loss last season. It's going to be a big storyline here tonight if they do end up winning. Egoist, new to this season, coming out so strong, taking the #1 seed and making the semifinals look fairly easy against a battle-hardened Midwest Mafia squad. So seems like both teams are in top form here. Really don't know what you could expect.
I don't know what to expect as well. Well, I can say I can expect one thing. That's going to be a lot of goals. Both these teams are super high-scoring teams, so expect a lot of goals, a lot of plays not only on the net, but in the nets. I mean, it's going to be an offensive-based battle, and we all know it's going to be aggressive. I mean, there's no team that does it better than Knights, but, I mean, Egoists, the possession that they have, if they hold possession, they might be able to outshoot Knight. We'll just have to see for now as we wait for our Grand Finals to begin here. Knight and Egoists. What a night it has been so far. What a match we are bound to see. We're gonna have a great series tonight to end off our regular season. Man, I'm all over the place. To end off our championship here, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you said just the offensive firepower on both sides so extreme. They play a little bit differently. Egoists can tend to just pepper shots on the net until something gets through. 100X Knight, they've been a little more higher output. I think they're averaging somewhere in the realm of about 3 to 4 goals per game this season, which if you've ever competed in threes before, you know that is an insane mark to be hitting, and they have done that on average, which means half the time they're scoring more than 3 to 4 goals per game. I mean, just so deadly. You need to be so careful if you're Egoist, but 100X Knight, they can't be too confident as well. I mean, both teams, I feel like they have to know what they're up against. Egoists, especially week 2, they took that loss. They're trying to take revenge there. Just so much between these two teams is going to come to a head.
As you said as well, our tournaments, our whole night comes down to quite the series to end it. We are waiting on 100X Knight to join in. I mean, so far tonight has been a night of one-sided matchups for the most part. I mean, we started off with a great series of Big Mafia and Pandamonium Bloodbenders, but there's a clear top order right now of teams in this division, and well, that hasn't really changed yet. We'll have to see if it does change at any point. For now, I'm just mostly seeing if maybe we can see closer matchups, because again, tonight has not been a night of close matches. It's not been a night of close series. I really do hope this Grand Finals is going to live up to the hype it has and be one that is quite competitive.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can really hope for. I think we're in a good spot to get it. I mean, this has been a Pinnacle Cup season that has been topsy-turvy. 4 teams tied for 5 and 2, that #1 seed. Ultimately, we're Egoist, 100X Knight getting those buys, and they've shown their class since then, making themselves look like the clear 1 and 2 seeds when they really, it has been up in the air for the rest of the year, or rest of the season, rather. So we are seeing now the cream of the crop rise to the top, and I mean, don't really know what else to say besides, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Indeed, the Grand Finals is here. Knights were here last season. Perry was here last season, but didn't get the win. Lost in the Grand Finals to Midwest Mafia. Well, Midwest Mafia aren't here anymore. Replacing them as the Egoists on the blue. 100X Knights are on the orange. Manny Alar, Perry, and Jared on Knights taking on the Egoists of Temp, Chavi, and Extreme to wins. Who wins it? Is it all-out offense or mechanics and skill? The Egoists looking for an early start, looking for early offense as they hold the possession early, but they're going to need more chances, they're going to need more goals. If one thing is telling me about this team from last series, if they want to win here, they're going to need to up that shooting average.
Yeah, for sure. And it wasn't a deciding factor against Midwest Mafia, but they were struggling to get the ball in the back of the net even when they were shooting a ton. That one for 100X Knight almost going in the back of the net, but it has been kept out by the crossbar and a couple of defenders. But we can see now the beginnings of pressure for this 100X squad that's so threatening. Big name here, Manny as well from Bruton Parker, a strong CRL roster, and now trying to bring that strength to the ATS Pinnacle Cup. Here he goes in the air as well, and that Furia decal Fennec will work out to Perry. Temp receiving. He'll take it to the air as well. Now to Extreme. Do get a pinch going, but you can see this 100X squad not too eager to jump on it. Very content to wait and see how Egoists play. It definitely feels like Egoists are going to have to earn each and every one of their goals tonight.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, early on, the thing we said about the Midwest Mafia was that they were very jumpy, wanted to go for everything. Well, Knight are the exact opposite. They're patient. They're a team that just won't go for a lot of challenges unless they know they can win them. And that's what we're seeing right now. The Egoists feel like they're the more jumpy team out of the two, and this might be the only team that is more patient than the Egoists are, as Knight will find possession. I think what's interesting about Knight is the fact that initially when they started the season, Manny Alar was their sub. He wasn't even a starter on this roster when the season began. Well, now he starts, and you can see why. This guy knows how to make moves on a dime, and he gets the scoring started in the Grand Finals for 100x35 Esports.
I mean, just absolute class. Manny has to use up about 60 boost to even catch up to the ball and make it a bit of a guessing game for Javi, and he uses the final 10 he has to put the brakes on and send him for a loop. I mean, you can just see why he's so solid, so reliable for this 100X Knight squad. Finding a bump there off the air dribble. Didn't convert into anything, but certainly you can see how Egoists, they're going to need to start to find more shots in the back of the net. There's only really been 2 good chances, I'd say, for 100X Knight so far, but they are up 1-0 on the scoreboard. Egoists still, with their extra offense, have not managed to do anything of note.
They haven't been. And Knights, you mentioned during the break, while we were talking a little bit just about how good this team is overall. They're going to make the Egoists work for every single play, but the Egoists, they don't mind a little bit of work because they know it's well worth it when they succeed. Chavi puts it in. And what I love about this play is the fact that Egoists just throwing themselves up, forcing Knight to play the way they want to, forcing them to commit. And when Manny Alar couldn't make the touch he wanted, that's when they jump in on it.
The way you turn shots into goals in Rocket League is by getting those bumps and boost steals, and you can see both happening there in this very same play for Egoists that allowed them to convert. They're going to need to get more of that to turn that high volume shooting into high volume goal output. Doing well right now to be fairly effective as 100X has been at least, but do need to still be careful. You can see Manny trying to work his way through the defense. His teammates not too keen to follow him up there. They've been happy to sit and allow Egoists to get some extra pressure, and they have been themselves very happy to take that. That's going to be a pinch pass out to Temp. Don't know how that worked out, but he will have a little bit of extra space. Maybe getting a bit too cute on the ball. Maybe it was a fake. Either way, saved by this Knight defense. Seems like we've settled into yet another rhythm here where 100X Knight are going to wait for their chance on defense to break out, and then they're going to hold on to offense with a vice grip, as they are doing here. Manny, that 50 will be floating down. It has to be cut off by Temp before clearing it out. Finally, Egoists right back into pressure, and the game starts again.
Oh, and I thought Temp may have had them beat there on that fake, but couldn't get another touch in midfield. And again, both these teams just waiting patiently, and it's not the same high-scoring offense that we saw from both these teams in the regular season. I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that to take a high-scoring offense, you gotta be willing to take risks. And if this went in your Grand Finals, why take risks when the game is this close? 100X Knight and Egoists both playing patient, but it does feel like Knights had more offense this game. They've been playing higher up, they've been winning more challenges, and for the Egoists, well, they haven't been nearly as effective in their shooting. It's the outcome of their match against Midwest Mafia starting to come to haunt them here, as Manny Alar off the corner. They'll look for the midfield, but not much there as Temp off the sidewall. Extreme to wins. will find the clear as Jared goes for it. Off the corner, Jared saves it away as Knights will go. Jared, it's a chance! Chavi can't get there! Knights break through! The Egoists couldn't challenge in time! And with a breakout chance, Perry to Jared to the back of the net!
Javi just got a little greedy for that side boost. Didn't think that Perry would have had a good clean passing touch on it, but it was exactly where it needed to be for Jared to slot it home, and he did just that with a bit of a classy flick on top too. I've been liking generally where Egoists have been positioning their second man a little more on offense, but they need to watch the defense as well. Here's Perry, 1v3, able to double up the lead for 100x Knights, showing why this team has been so potent this entire season.
Yeah, it is, and that offense is scary, because once they find one, it doesn't take too much time for them to find another. This is a team of play after play, offense after offense, and goal after goal. And now the Egoists, down by 2 in game 1, will now need to do all they can to find an answer, but Knight's not going to give it to them for free. Temp, off his own back wall, actually had a player waiting there from Knight, but now he can go to offense. Flip resets, will go himself to the back wall, but it's stopped by Manny Alar. And the Egoists will once again have to reset as Manny almost beat Chavi there, who never even jumped for it. The Egoists playing with fire on defense. A lot of it is for the fact that they need to get possession and they need to get and take chances. Temp, pass 2, now needs to hit the midfield. Mendler missed it! Extreme to win scores with 5 seconds left on the clock. Egoists still have an opportunity to tie this one.
It's been a bit of a problem all game for 100x Knight, but now it's really starting to become a factor that's allowed Egoists to stay in this one, is that the second and third man, especially on offense for Knight, just has not been present. They've been very, very passive. So it will be a kickoff strat for Egoists. They will get the ball in the air, avoiding the bump by Manny. Now it'll be 2 on offense here. Temp trying to pre-jump because the touchdown, Javi can't read it. Knight will hold on, but Egoists gave it a run at the end.
As you said as well, a win for Knight in game 1. An X25 Esports roster who couldn't win last season, lost in the grand finals, looking to turn... turn their hopes around here, going through game 1 here. What they need, it's what they're looking for. And reminder, a little bit of that $300 prize pool waiting for the winner here. So Knight, strong start, and it feels like for Egoists, again, a really slow start for them. They had a slow start against Midwest Mafia, and while against Midwest Mafia you can afford a slow start because their rotation did fall apart at times, that's not the same thing you can say about Knight. Their rotation's a lot stronger, their offense is a lot more potent. If you're Egoists, you can't win by waiting.
The thing that's very concerning for me is that this is a Knight team that didn't feel like they really figured everything out at the end of that game, but they still came out with a victory that, although it was a 1-goal game, at least in the closing seconds, was fairly comfortable. As comfortable as a 1-goal game can be anyways. And they're going to start things up again here. I feel like if you get that second man a little further up for Knight, it's going to really start to cause fits for this Egoist defense. They've been fairly able to break out of their own half and get a counterattack going like they do here with Extreme. They have not been starved of chances by any means, and as long as Knight continue to provide them space, Egoists will continue to capitalize.
Yeah, this Egoist team is a team. I mean, both these teams, I would say, are teams that you're not ever going to see get shut out in any game. They're going to find goals. They're going to be able to score. The question is going to be when and how many. Right now, Egoist, it's 1, and in the first 30 seconds, but Knights aren't going to be silenced for very long. Expect to see them find ways to string chances together, and expect them to find ways to really look for Manny Alar to lead, use his mechanics for good. Because against the Egoists, there's not that many people that can keep up mechanically, but Manny Alar, he's definitely someone who can.
Yeah, and we see again there, Perry was playing a very deep second. This time it worked out. There was someone ahead of the ball on the backboard for Knight to push it back towards him, but just feels like 100x Knight not playing with a lot of urgency to keep the ball on offense, so they do have another chance here. Jared trying to air dribble it past Extreme. Good defense from him. As Javi gets another touch now, Manny looking for the infield pass. Perry going to fake it out, allow another shot here by Manny, but ultimately no problem for Temp on defense. And it has been, ironically, for a team that has been playing mostly offense, Knight have been relying more on counterattacks than anything else to score.
Has been a lot of counterattacks, and it's the irony because that's exactly what Midwest Mafia wanted to do, and it didn't work very well here as that stinged off the bar. The Egoists will keep on playing offense, but for Knight, it's all about those quick breaks, those quick chances, playing one-on-one. It's exactly how the Egoists will oftentimes like to play, but Knight kind of take that 1v1 chance, those 1v1 opportunities up to 11, as now they've whiffed it! Oh dear, a huge error, and for I think it was Perry on the backfield. No, it was Jared. There is no excuse There's no reason to whiff that one. He's just given Egoists the easiest goal of the night.
Yeah, he just let go of the boost button the moment he jumped. He knew it was over his head, and that's just got to be a little brutal. And I have to feel like they've been more potent on their offensive chances, but they just aren't able to get them consistently enough in Game 2 to really threaten. Here's another chance from Jared off the counter, where Knight has worked best so far, but this time it is shut down well. Temp wifty-wiftying with Harry, but this one will result in another couple of 50s. Now Manny, good control from him. Everybody going at this one as well for Knight will make the sustained pressure a little bit harder. Extreme clearing as well. They look for a reset. Ill-fated there. Will be another couple of plays by this Egoist offense. And a save made by Jared, just barely rolling off the post and out. But it does feel like now Egoists are starting to play their game a little bit more, and they've wrangled control of the series right back.
A better performance from Egoists. Game 1 was slow, but Game 2, they're coming out of the gate swinging. Infield play. Temp will hold the corner, but Jared's next to this. The Egoists play to the midfield, playing to their control. And as long as they play the way they are, not only are they going to find more goals, they're going to waste out all this time. And Knight, they need that clock to be in their favor. They need time to score, and they need these chances. Nobody home. Jared takes it as the bump ahead connects.
I mean, Knight were just itching at an opportunity to find this ball in the back of the net. You can see all three players pushing up on offense that Demos found in the last man. He had to grab boost anyways. There's just no chance he's going to get back to it. Can't leave somebody isolated like that, especially not on low boost against this Knight roster. Their shooting is very solid, and they know how to play in those 2v1 advantage situations. So this game brought back within one, with Knight hunting for another goal here. A couple of whiffs from everybody on the field. Temp will finally collect this ball momentarily. Jared popping. Perry gonna jump off of this one. You can see Knight, especially Perry, not willing to jump for any ball that he doesn't have a clean beat to. Has to start being a little more confident in himself, it feels like, if Knight are to come back in this game.
Jared stopped as Temp will go instead. Now Manny Alar. Tavi, who's going to get beat there as he took a bit of a long time to turn around to that one. And now Knight can take some offense again. Perry all alone, but that is not exactly an easy sign here for Egoists, although they'll take the ball away. Perry's all alone now on defense as he'll take the demo, take his time, get the ball away. And while Knight's still chasing after this one, the fact that Perry wastes out the time out of the Egoists means his teammates can recover, and that Knight will not be stuck floundering.
And Egoists now picking up the aggression even more on offense, trying to keep Knight pinned back. Knight has been able to break out much more in the second half of this game, but they need to be careful here with the shot on target by Extreme. Well controlled by Jared, but he did have to use up all of his boost to get this one out. So we'll allow Javi, and in this case Temp, time to break out of their own half. Extreme pushing up a little early though. Egoists need to be careful. You can see Knight picking up the aggression themselves, starting to turn in these balls a little more. Javi trying to control this one, gets away from him. Manny looking for a bump on Extreme. Is able to avoid it just barely, but Knight really hunting for the game-tying goal.
Jared, good first touch, room to work, flip reset. Jared, oh, he's got an extra touch on that, and Manny was not ready for it. Now goes Perry, he's whiffed it completely. Manny's last back, 2-on-1, fake from Temp, in goes Temp. Egoist run down the field, and Temp takes over.
Just absolutely no respect for this 100x defense, slowing it down and making two of them miss. Thought he maybe could have gotten it past the last man after the first fake, just had to do one more just for the cherry on top. I mean, showing complete confidence. This is what you need if you are to win the championship. You need to be confident in yourself and your ability to make the other team question themselves. And Egoists right now in firm control of this series.
And with time running out here, I don't see a place where Knight comes back unless this one is going in. It will. Manny Alar gives them hope. 13 seconds still to play.
A bit of deja vu from last game as well. The inverse scoreline where Ego was able to bring one back with a couple seconds left on the clock to make it interesting. This time it will be Knight trying their hand at a last-second equalizer. Shots are equal this game. It's been fairly even pressure-wise. Temp winning that kickoff very strongly, though that will make this last-second effort that much harder for Knight. Javi playing it across. Manny's on zero boost. That allows Extreme to go up for this one early. Perry going to try to get one thing going, try to pass it over to Jared, but the touch goes awaywards, and that will be game number 2 done and dusted, and we have ourselves a level series.
It is Egoists back in it. You can't deny any of these teams the fact that they both do deserve to win this one, but there's a problem with that question, and that is that only one of these teams can win, but so far we're seeing an answer from the Egoists, an early start. and a good start. Really doing well to turn up their own pressure, turn up the speed, and make sure that Knight doesn't get near as many shots. And without a lot of shots, Knight can be a team that struggles, and we saw that in Game 2. It's gonna come down to that shooting accuracy and for both these teams, because I think what we're gonna see later as the series goes on, we're gonna see less and less shots, and that means for these teams, if they're gonna have less shots, they gotta make those shots really matter.
Yeah, and we didn't touch on it earlier, but as Temp scored that double fake goal, there was a bit of chirping in the quick chat. So maybe a bit of animosity starting to heat up between these two teams. The emotions maybe starting to come into full play as we get closer and closer to determining a champion. This Game 3 will break our deadlock in the series. And really, I don't know who's going to be the favorite here. Egoists definitely showed up to be a little bit better on Forbidden Temple, but just as easily, Knight are going to be able to bring this one back their way, as Egoists did last game themselves. So, just going to have to wait and see who this first goal goes to, who's going to have to chase down that lead, and who's going to be able to play from in front.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned how important that first goal is, and oftentimes I mention this at lower rank levels because at lower rank levels, whoever scores first usually has more importance than it does at higher rank levels, but it still matters, especially with how high the pressure is. In playoffs more than ever, that first goal matters because you do not want to be the team not only facing pressure, but also facing pressure while knowing that you're losing. Having that first goal kind of brings a sense of calm, a sense of relaxation that every team kind of needs in this playoff bracket to be successful. Right now for Hunter X Knight and for Egoists, when they've had that first goal, they've been able to relax a little bit more as Manny Alar takes it. It goes in for Knight as a little bump off the back wall. Jared connecting with one of the Egoist defenders, and well, Manny Alar, he's just in the right place at the right time.
Jared has been going for a couple of very slow solo plays, mesmerizing the Egoist defense, and finally connects with the beat and the bump. Manny just has to be along for the ride, didn't even have to flip into the ball, just allowed himself to be bumped into it. As Knight are going to look to double their lead here is Perry, the shot by Jared with Manny harassing Temp, but the save is still made. Egoists keep this one out just barely. And Manny especially, he's had a bit of a slump in the last game, but he has started to come back online here, getting a little bit more boosted up. What you like to see out of, I'd say, the most talented player on the pitch right now. He's got to be the difference maker for Knight, it feels like, especially with how things have been a little bit awkward at times.
There is a question for Knight if Manny Alar will play, who was listed as the sub at the start of the season, who's now been the starter by the end of it. But Egoist racing back, Xavi will take this one. Now Jared will challenge. 3 minutes to go, but Hunter X Knight taking this one, and this is not the first season, again, that Knight has played with a star-started player. Last season, it was Nawafi who led this roster. Now this season, you talk about Manny being the player to step up when they need him, as Perry will leave it. Manny Alar, fake over one. Now still Manny. Xavi clears it out, but it's now Knight possession. Perry, flip resets. Can't get another one on it. And the Egoists will clear this one away as Manny Alar, the last one back. Temp will be there, but he can't shoot. In fact, the Egoists start back home off the back wall in the net. Manny Alar doesn't give them a chance to breathe.
The Egoists caught napping once again. Xavi looking for a pass that's just never going to be there with that angle. Temp has to watch Perry sail on by. Doesn't even know Manny's there, I think, and ultimately another doubled up lead for 100x35 Knight, just taking control of the game once again, putting themselves where they have to feel like they belong after how the rest of the night has gone. We'll see if they're going to be able to keep up that pressure right now. It does feel like they're starting to pick up the pace even more still. Temp has to rush back for another save. Egoists need to get something going. They need to halt this Knight momentum.
They really do. Knight, once they, as I said already, once they score one, they have a knack to score again and again, and it's really tough to slow this team once they have a 2-goal lead. Extreme to wins. High flick, trying to set up Temp, but he couldn't get past Manny. Now goes Perry, still goes Perry, all the way goes Perry. A third for Knight, and as I said before, when they have momentum, they are unstoppable on the rush.
Perry just with an excellent cut on the ball there to put it right out of the reach of Xavi. This Egoist offense, they're so eager to get something going. They felt like they had a bit of a chance, but it just gets taken away as quickly as it manifested. Need to get something here. Just feels like they're starting to drown a little bit under this Knight presence of field. Just doesn't feel like, even when they get into offense, it's very threatening. It feels like their defensive stands have to be very last gasp, and when they get into the midfield, it's shut down just as quickly. Good shot on target from Extreme, though. Will allow Temp some room to work. Control touch, looking for a 50 with Perry on the backboard. It does drop down, but Xavi midfield, no boost yet again. Starting to become a bit more of a problem as well for Egoists. Their second man not being in a position to have enough resources to play the ball. We'll see if they can fix that up as this one comes to a close.
Stream to wins, trying to drop one under the bar, but Jared's waiting for that opportunity. Now Knights challenge again, but Egoists, they're the team that's down. They're the team that needs to ask the questions, that needs to prove themselves here. Extreme to wins. Manuelar's already up for this one. Is Perry pushed up quite high. Won't be able to get back in time, but can chase this one down and force the Egoists back again. Extreme over Perry. Jared, the last one back. Extreme to wins goes. The bump, the play, but no shot on. Egoist denied as the defense holds.
Extreme has been good with getting a couple more cuts with high boost here, but has not found the back of the net yet. He will now, though. Bottom left, finally his first shot out of 6 will go through. And it felt like it was coming. I think Extreme had just been playing so much better in the second half of this game, so much more aggressive. And this time he does manage to take advantage of one of those open looks. He's got more shots, the same amount of shots as everybody else in the field combined right now. It's going to be a bit frustrating for him, but feels like if he can be unlocked, then Egoists do have a path back in this series.
Extreme to wins, trying to lead this team. The Egoists, it's all hands on deck in game 3. Temp. Extreme to wins, gonna go for the bump instead. I would have liked to see him instead try to play for a follow-up shot. Instead, everybody's pushed up and nobody's back to defend that quickly. But they will get the initial save. Jared helicoptering into this one. Extreme to wins holes, and look at this. We got a little rule 1 on the back of the net here. 2v2 now as Perry blocking his car. With Temp on the other side of the field. So a little bit of 2v2 action. The Egoists, I feel like, are the team that might be favored in this position, as Manuelar will need to get back to save. Oh, but Egoists has sent both players up. Manuelar will hold this one, as Jared will keep up with him. 10 seconds to go. It doesn't really matter who's favored anymore, because it's Knight with the lead, and it's Knight who will hold this lead. Egoists will see game 3 end. Now they're down in the series again. Knight with another strong performance here, led by Manuelar. Game 3 going their way, but of course this match and this night is not over.
No, it isn't, but Egoists, their shooting percentage woes continue to bite them time and time again. This time it is Extreme going 1 for 7. Just need to be scoring more of these chances. Ultimately, you're getting higher quality chances. Again, it didn't affect them too much against Midwest Mafia because they were able to play stronger defense, but against a team as strong on offense as 100x35 Knight, you need to be scoring your own chances, and Ego is struggling to get anything quality on target.
As well. It's gonna be insane to me, at least, as here we go. Egoists and 100x Knights back at it again as Jared will stay on this as Extreme to wins goes next. Egoists waiting. Now he'll shoot it off the back wall, and it really does feel like for Egoists, it's now or never at this point. I know the series is far from over, but they cannot go down 3-1 in this series if they want to beat Knights.
Absolutely, and they're getting more pressure here. You're just waiting to see, okay, have they fixed their shooting issues? Is there anything more to do? Right now, though, they're stuck on defense. That's a big demo. This net is going to be wide open for Perry. Just has to walk the dog all the way home with Extreme and no chance at it. Jared was making sure he had 0 probability to get to that ball. Had to go for a squishy save on something that was just sitting right in front of the net. I mean, Egoists, again, more pressure, and it just immediately comes back to bite them with another counterattack right in the back of their net. Something has got to change.
It definitely feels like something's got to change right now. Knight are holding all the cards and all the keys to success, and Egoists right now just have not been able to shut them down. What a fake! Oh, what a play! Jared scores, but the misdirection from Perry is what really makes this happen.
And this is just so deadly when you have somebody on defense, 2 players back even, but both of them tracking the ball, tracking the man on it, nobody looking for a follow-up shot with a better angle. You can see Extreme going up to cover the backboard, and it just was not going to happen there. He will find 1 goal back, though, so Extreme showing us that the goals maybe don't need to be that pretty, just need to go in, and ultimately will be 1 back for the Egoists. They have been doing a couple more kickoff strats, and I do like what I'm seeing there. Maybe it's their path back in the series, but just need to get a little more consistent outside of set plays.
Smokescreen off the kickoff, giving the Egoists that goal. Now the other way, Knights can have one of their own. Jared will take it, and he's pretty excited about that goal. Knights back up by 2.
Oh, the kickoffs giveth and the kickoffs taketh away. Temp just so much to cover. Jared, a picture-perfect flick, could not have placed it any better. I mean, he is on another level right now. You look at Manny and Perry, both of the players with a lot to prove in this series, but it has been Jared who's showed up huge in Game 4 for Knight. as they have another early 2-goal lead, and Egoists once again have to chase this one down.
But they will look for chances, and it's a miss from Jared. This should be a goal, but Extreme to wins just doesn't have the power on the end of it. Egoist will challenge once more as Extreme to the corner. Jared and Perry, and it's still Perry. It's Perry, back wall, double! Perry all the way!
Everybody on 100x35 Night playing at their peak right now, mechanically, positionally, everything is coming together for them. Egoists, just nothing they can do here. Leaving the last man isolated, it just feels like any time there is open space for Knight, whoever is on the ball, it's going in the back of your net. Not a welcome sight for anybody to go up against.
And Knight right now feels like it's the culmination of everything they've done so far. It's like their magnum opus. It's their best. It's what this team can do at their best. And the Egoists coming in as our number 1 seed, the only team with an average MMR of over 2K. And Knights does not seem to care, does not seem to be bothered. Their offense is making all the statements it needs to. 4-1 in Game 4 right now, and we have 3 minutes to go, but already it feels like hope for the Egoists is waning. Perry, double tap, can't connect, but the Egoists, they're going to need to work quick.
Gotta go here, but it just gets cut off instantly. Another bump attempt by Extreme. I want to see him be the first man with the ball in tow. I get what he's trying to do here with these physical plays, but it seems like he's been much more effective when he's had the ball in his own control. There's still plenty of time. The one good thing about going down by 3 this early is that you do have time to make a comeback. But Egoists do need to get something here. They need to stem the bleeding, as it just feels like Knight, even when they're on defense, just doing whatever they want with the ball.
Aniolor, oh, he's been rocked by Jared there, as here goes Extreme to wins. And he's got an extra touch on this, but Perry will challenge high, keep him out, and force the Egoists back to square one. Temp, Chavi right behind, but a botched 2v1 play there. Chavi wanted to go up ahead, but Temp didn't give him the time. And now Knight the other way, one-on-one. Extreme will challenge early, force Jared to concede. And the Egoists will have another chance at life, as Temp with room, with the ceiling to his disposal. But Knights have just been better so far. Egoists, a team known for playing second best behind Pirates on a Bot, Nightja and company in the Rocket League Splash Series. Now in the Ascent Tournament Series, does that storyline continue with 100x Knight now? The team that's leading. Perry, Aniolor, Temp challenges, but no one there to go. And the Egoists don't have anyone back either. They all pushed up, no one wanted to challenge. And when you give up a net like this, you're just asking to be scored on.
Feels like the full weight of the championship is starting to affect Egoists. They know that they are a few games away from taking it, but that has made it so much harder to push forward against the unstoppable force that has been Knight. And this is without Manny putting up much of a performance in this game. He's only got 122 points to his name. It's been Jared and Perry with a hat trick each. I mean, just complete domination through and through.
It is, and it's weird to say that Manny Alar doesn't need to be at his best for the team to be successful, because when you've got Jared and when you've got Barry, who they've been playing every single series this season, that duo just knows how to get things done. Knights, they know how to get these goals when they need them. Perry try to dribble this one away, but for Egoists at this point, I think the question's not going to be, can you come back? It's going to be, well, what do you do after Game 4? What do you do now? Now that you've just suffered your worst loss of the night, how do you recover 3-1 down in the series?
Well, the good thing is that they can at least use these final 2 minutes as a tactical timeout in and of itself. They still have one in the chamber, and I wouldn't be too surprised if they use it after everything's said and done here on Sovereign Heights, but they do need to just figure something out. Obviously, it can just feel so overwhelming when you're playing against a team like this. Just don't know what you're doing wrong, but everything feels like the incorrect decision. They have to start finding something, even if it's a gimmick play, even if it's kickoffs, if it's demos, you need to change something, give yourself at least some more hope. Even if the gameplay might not be super solid, you need to give yourself a reason to believe that you can in fact win.
Knights challenges and Egoists defense. It's Knights that's leading. It's Knight that's winning Game 4. It's going to be Knight that will have 3 games to win this series and to win our grand finals. And while Egoists will take a consolation goal from Extreme to Wins, really felt like Extreme to Wins has been their leader this series, but we need to see more from Chavi. We need to see more from Temp. Those players who stood tall earlier today have not been that loud in this grand finals. It's been Extreme to Wins the lead. I want to see more from Chavi. I want to see more from Temp, especially when they follow Extreme to Lead's lead. Extreme to Wins' lead,
absolutely. And here he is with a hat trick of his own. I mean, he's been playing very solid this game. He's got all 3 for Egoists, and he's matched Jared and Perry's performance. Granted, this is garbage time, but still a little something to look forward to, and at least Knight aren't scoring at will. You do feel like, okay, if Knight are playing super overconfident, we can at least punish them. But yeah, there does need to be a little bit more from Temp and Javi. Do need to see a bit more integration into the team. It feels like they're not really playing off of each other. They're just trying to get something going downfield desperately, and it doesn't seem to be working. Temp unable to track the ball there. It'll be 7 for 100x35 Knight. Just nothing clicking for Egoists, even if they can get a couple back in garbage time.
21 seconds left on the clock, but it is Knights who are about as happy as they can be. They had some pretty dominant games against KCG Chaos, but this is dominant against the Egoists on a whole nother level. You know, the Egoists have had goals late. Knights, there is no denying how good they are. That is an amazing pass. I can't believe Perry somehow got that one. I mean, Egoists look silly. They look like they're in the wrong position there, but I promise you, there is no reason Perry should be hitting it like that.
I mean, they're freestyling. Perry's playing for a high pass. Jared puts it into the low air, and Perry just extends back down to it and still finds Manny with the touch. I mean, it does feel like they can do no wrong at this point, and it has to feel that way to Egoists as well. Like, Extreme has, I don't want to say he's given up, but you can see how he's just flipping around the field aimlessly. Maybe it's just for this game, but that can be a mentality that's so hard to break out of when you're trying to lock back in a do-or-die Game 5. 100x35 Knight, just 1 win away from the championship. They'll have 3 opportunities to do so, and there will be the tactical timeout from Egoists to try to combat it.
And no surprise here, with how bad this game was, I'd be calling a tactical timeout even if my team wasn't down 3-1. They didn't look good. Simply put, they didn't look good. They got absolutely outplayed by Knights here, and a lot of it came down to the fact that Knight just scored early. They scored early, and they scored often. And when that happens, especially for a team like Knight, no one's beating them. Simply put, nobody is beating them. So, for now, we're going to be going into Game 5 with Knight 1 away from doing what they could not do last season, from what Perry could not do last season, and that is win in the Grand Finals. But they've got an extra minute to talk things out. They've got an extra minute to wait. The Egoists, at this point, just trying to shut down that momentum of Knight and go back to square one. It's better than whatever happened in Game 4.
Yeah, I mean, I said it at the end of that game when it was basically already over, but something needs to be your key to latch on to. Even if it's not necessarily a sound tactic, you're still looking, okay, maybe we can change something up and maybe this will work. And just that idea that you can find a gap through the defense and put a stop to their offense is enough to get you going. Confidence can often be more important than your play style. Especially if you are a set team, if you are at this level, you don't want to change things up too much, but you need to be sure of what you're doing, that what you're doing will work. If you don't think that what you're doing is going to work at all, it just feels completely helpless, then you basically have already lost.
It is a way of helplessness, and I really worry for the Egoists. You said at the end of the game, that mentality, you could see it on the car language there. None of those players were exactly happy to be there, and none of those players were really playing in a way where they had any sort of confidence in them. I still worry that they're not going to have that confidence. 2 minutes, well, a lot of time in Rocket League is not that much time for a timeout. I do worry, more importantly than the way that they're playing, if they're going to be confident enough to play the way they need to play.
Yeah, absolutely. But ultimately, regardless of how things went in that last game, regardless of where the series is at, you don't get to the Grand Finals by cowering down when things get tough. You get there by persevering, by pushing through each and every bit of adversity that's thrown your way. Egoists, do they have one last stand left in them, or is this 100x35's time?
Knights didn't win last season. It was a Grand Finals where they went out in Game 6 on Neo Tokyo. Well, Game 5 this season could be their chance, and already they're panicking on defense. But at least they'll get the saves to start things off. Egoists, again, resetting everything back to square zero for everyone. It's not only a reset for them, it's a reset for Knight. It's a reset for the series in many ways, more than one. Knights will keep the ball, but Egoists will keep the challenge. They'll go in first. Chavi, back wall, a chance to shoot, but Perry's not going to give it to them for free. Temp will have room to work. Manuelar first to it, but Temp will get up and over him. Now Jared will get the challenge, but Chavi's going to beat him to it. Extreme to wins. Finds Temp as Egoists find the ball. They'll keep the possession, but they're going to need to find shots. Extreme to wins on targets, but Manuelar's there, and it's going to take more than that to beat 100x Knight on the back line. Perry. Knights keeping possession. Manuelar will head back to temp. Jared. Let's get one by as you'll have Manuelar to support on the next night, keeping plays upfield as it will be Chavi. Next to this, Manuelar. Temp. And Egoists keeping this ball in the air as long as they can, but they now gotta go back to defense. Nobody back to Extreme to wins off the demo spawn. They're getting removed every single second. It feels like somebody from the Egoists getting kicked out of the game by a demo. Jared will clear it out, but here goes Chavi upfield. Manuelar can't be there, but Jared will. And the Egoists will keep that play going as Perry, Jared, saved away as Extreme to wins. Manuelar next to this. Next night, still in defense, not really holding control. This timeout has worked so far for the Eagles, but without goals, without much on offense, they're going to struggle to find chances. They need to flow one in soon. That one's open, but it's saved away by Perry.
Yeah, I mean, you said it earlier that we're back to square one. It really does feel like it in so many ways. We're back to where Egoists are putting on more shots on target, but they're not finding the back of the net. This is good, but it needs to be a little better. They still need to actually find something in. They have 7 shots and 0 goals and only 3 saves from Knight. They have put 4 shots near the net that have not required a Knight save. They need to do more to force better plays out of Knight. They need to force them to use up boosts, use up flips, to get something going. It's been good, but it needs to be great if you are to be champions. This one could be off the post. Just feels like nothing they do will fall through.
My goodness, that's about as close as things can get. Here the Eagles go again. Oh, that's off the crossbar. Extreme to wins just wide. And Manuelar will clear this one away. The danger is gone for now. But my goodness, the hopes and dreams of Egoists and Egoist fans everywhere resting on if they can just hit the nets. My goodness, they've had about 20 shots. I know I'm exaggerating, but it feels like that many, and yet they still can't score. There's a lid on the net, and that lid, it just seems to be the will of Rocket League to not let them go. Egoists have had the offense in Game 5, but not the goals to boot.
Something's got to give, it feels like, for one of these two teams. I mean, Knight, they might not be able to withstand this pressure forever, but they're seeming to have very little problem with it. Where Egoists, it feels like if they give up 1 goal at this point, that could be lights out. Just so much riding on this next goal. All of the hopes of Egoists, everything for Knight to close out this series in 5. It will depend on who can find the back of the net first. Might even end up being in golden goal territory as well with how this series has gone and how this game has gone. Extreme, bumped off by Temp. Now first time that Knight have seen the orange side of the field in quite some time. The blue side rather, and Perry finds it through the back-breaking goal here for Knight. They've only put on 2 shots to Egoists 10, but they've made them count. As now 1 minute and 1 second until Knight are crowned champions.
And Perry, of all players as well, who was here last season on Knight, the only player to return on this roster from the season before, the only player to see himself lose in the grand finals and say that he can do better. Egoists, do they have a plan for redemption? Chavi, Jared, Chavi again. It's flicked up high, but Manuelar through the smoke will keep this one out. Extreme to wins will leave this one for his captain, Temp. I won, but Manny's waiting. The collegiate star trying to find another way through. It's Perry! It's open! It's off the post! That could have ended this game. Now goes Jared, nobody back! Surely it is! Oh, it's off the post and out! Egoists, through no work of their own, somehow survive and are given a lifeline when they really did not deserve one.
Yeah, well, the woodwork blessing both teams in this game, but ultimately it still comes down to Egoists being able to find just something more. Temp has been in front of the ball for it feels like this entire last minute, but something has got to go here, and Jared's got full control. This one can't touch the ground for Egoists. It looks like Knight are about to be crowned champions. If this one hits the ground, and it does, 100x35 Knight redeem their Season 3 loss and end as the Pinnacle Cup champions.
Perry, from seasons ago, could not win, losing in the grand finals, but not a loser anymore. This is his night to shine, and this is the Knights 135 Esports take home the House Wyffindor Pinnacle Cup as champions 4-1 in the grand finals. Not only did they beat the Egoists, but they took them down quite convincingly. It was accuracy versus volume, and accuracy won tonight. What a performance from them. What a grand finals from them. You can't say that they didn't deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, just through and through, in all phases of the game, they just felt more composed and more threatening. I mean, every single one of the players on Night had their games. They all came together, especially in that game 4, that blowout. It really felt like that was the moment where they knew they were going to be champions, and they made sure of it despite a game 5 onslaught from the Egoists. I mean, just excellent work through and through.
Said as well, what a night for 100x Knight. And my goodness, I'm sure an emotional moment for them as well. I mean, to go through all this time, to wait, 2 months in the off season for your chance at redemption. They come into this season a 5-2 record, but this final bracket is where it all came, where they all were able to get everything sorted out. My goodness, what a performance from Knight here, and simply put, as I said already, it felt like it felt like it was the hope that they had that kind of came to fruition in this grand finals. It felt like it was a whole season's worth of pain unleashed to Knights, and no one could step in their way.
I mean, just, it felt like for Perry, this was his moment, this was his time, and he really made sure of it. It's got to feel so good coming back from a grand finals defeat to crown yourself champion, know that it was through your own effort that you were able to get to the top with a journey that's going to be more arduous than most and more emotional than most. I mean, just props to him. He had an excellent series all around.
Yeah, it definitely is an excellent night here, as we're going to get an interview with this 100x Knight roster. So give us a moment while we get things sorted out here with all the players who played tonight. Welcome in Perry, Manialar, and Jared, champions of the Pinnacle Cup. Perry, this has been a season going. You lost in the grand finals last season, but you vowed to take revenge. This season, you now rest atop everyone as the best team in ATS. How are you feeling? It feels like this has been a whole season's worth of losses coming.
I know it feels good, you know. Honestly, it was pretty free, but it felt nice to like basically sweep everything. Because honestly, I feel like that last series should have been a sweep, but we kind of got unlucky in the second game. But yeah, it feels nice.
Yeah, I mean, that game 5 was something else entirely. I mean, you're one game over from the championship, and Egoists are putting an absolute barrage onto your net. I mean, how do you stay composed when you're facing up against those shots, shot after shot?
That's all up to Manny, bro. He was locking it down on defense, you know. 4 saves. It's all him.
That's me.
well, Manny, I mean, when the season started, you weren't on this roster. You were added as a sub to play for this team. Obviously, with how solid of a player you are, I've seen you before in Frost Esports events. I don't think you need any introduction for how good you are as well. But coming in tonight as a sub, then becoming a starter, now playing tonight in the championship with this roster, and playing against an Egoist side that's known for their mechanics. Talk to me about this kind of progression, having to kind of work around Perry and Jared, because these two have played all season together, but for you were added in mid-season. Talk to me what it was like kind of adapting to this roster.
Yeah, so it definitely was a bit of a struggle at first. In my normal teams that I play with, we play more of a first and second man just cut in back and forth, you know. Third man kind of stays solid back until he really has to come in. With them, it's more so just a quick, rapid first, second, third back and forth, you know. The default play, I'd say. So it was a bit of a struggle doing that, but I'm glad that we came out, got the dub, and we were able to play well.
I mean, in each and every game, it just feels like you're moving mountains just to get one more notch on the scoreboard in your favor. How do you stay composed, stay locked in after losing a game or winning a game heading into the next one?
I mean, I feel like one of my strongest abilities is at least as a Rocket League player is mentality and being able to communicate everything I'm saying. I would think we were just able to communicate all around us together as a team, and we were able to just stay composed. It was just kind of what Perry said. It was kind of free. Did what we needed to do, and it got us the win.
Yeah, you beat this Egoist team in the regular season, but it came down to Game 5. Jared, you got to see that win. It was one of the most shocking wins in the regular season. Obviously, though, now that we've seen more of this roster, it's obviously not too much of a surprise now. But even then, coming to this grand finals, a 4-1 win over the Egoists, and you guys said it. You guys were expecting yourselves to win by quite a solid margin, and you did that as well tonight. What changed between your match against the Egoists in the regular season and now?
I mean, I feel like we just got more confident and we all just like played together as a team. obviously we had Zavi whenever we first played them, and then we got Manny. So I mean, we just got to get used to Manny, and then we just like swept the whole entire league, honestly.
I mean, I just have one more question. How does it feel to be champions?
Free.
Let's go! We did it! We did it! Hey, it feels great, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
amazing.
it was good, man.
I can tell Manuel R, he's acting. You know Manuel R. RLCS. Forget about that. It sounds like you're more excited to win ATS here.
Yes, sir. It's the real league, man. It's the real league.
No, but in all seriousness, again, you guys played well, and well, we're not done with the accolades just yet. You all are champions of ATS, but we have an MVP award as well. Congratulations, Jared. You're ATS playoffs MVP this season. How does it feel to get a little extra accolade as well, on top of being champion?
It feels really good. I feel like it's a team effort, but we all stood out in our own ways, so this feels good. Thank you.
Course, and to all of you, I'd love to keep you all here forever as well, but obviously we can't do that. You all get to deserve to spend the rest of your night celebrating. But before you guys go and celebrate your championship together, we got to get some shoutouts here as in ATS edition. Let's start with Manuel R. Do you have any shoutouts? Anything you want to say? Anybody out there you want to mention who has helped you along the way?
I do this for my mama and my little brother too.
Now,
Bro.
hey, you're not the first person to shout out your family, and you're definitely not going to be the last. That's for sure. We'll now move to Perry. Do you have anything that you want to say? Anybody that you want to shout out?
Yeah, shout out my teammates, and shout out to Zavi, we couldn't have been here without him. Started this basically.
Of course, and we'll now move to Jared. Do you have anybody out there you want to mention? Any shout outs? Anything out there you want to say?
I want to shout out my teammates and Zavi. He brought me in RLCS, and like he taught me how to play with Perry and a brand new play style. So this is really thanks to him.
Of course, and shout outs to all of you. You guys are amazing. Congratulations on your win here. 100X Knights take home the championship in ATS and the ATS House Wyffindor Pinnacle Cup. The first time we've had a division of 1900 and above, and you guys made it look easy here tonight. Congratulations on your victory, Jared, Manuel R, Perry, and of course, as you guys mentioned, Zavi as well. Congratulations on your victory. You guys played amazingly. You guys looked good. Shout out as well to Bramble, your other sub, who played this season. And thank you so much for joining. Have an amazing rest of night. Congratulations on your championship. You guys wholeheartedly deserve it.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you, bro.
Have a good.
Of course, have a great night. And what a night it has been. Pyro, what an evening it has been as well. Thank you so much for joining here. You're kind of like you're the player that, you're the caster that doesn't show up all the time, but you're the caster that is always a blast to watch. I don't know if that sounds kind of mean, but anyways, you're a blast to have. That's what I should be saying here. Congratulations on congratulations. Thank you so much for joining. I don't know why I was grouping you in with Knights, but again, thank you so much for joining here, Pyro. What a night it has been. Do you have anything you want to say? Anything you want to say to kind of round out tonight's and all the amazing action we have had?
I mean, just an excellent evening through and through of Rocket League. We didn't get the Game 7 finals we were all hoping for, but we did get some absolutely incredible Rocket League at the end of things. A couple of series that I think were closer than their scorelines gave them credit. I'd like to thank you, Sporty, for having me on here. It's been an honor, as well as the rest of the ATS staff. Kyle, Molly, Armor J, making sure that we can get these statistics together, the elaborate spreadsheet system that is way more in depth than I even realize, that most of you probably realize. And I'd like to also give myself a shout out, twitch.tv/pyroblocks. If you enjoyed my casting tonight, there will be more Amateur League action from the ATS and otherwise, though. If you do find me casting the ATS, it might be over there, might be over here. You never know. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been an excellent evening.
Of course, and thank you to all of you who have been so supportive here tonight. It's been an absolute blast. But of course, our championships and our action is not done. Next Sunday, our 135 Esports Phoenix Cup will be in its top 8 final bracket. But for now, we're going to go offline. Thank you all so much for joining this Tournament Series Season 4 House Wyffindor Pinnacle Cup Championship. I'm Sporty FC. Again, joining me was pyroblocks from all of you, from all of the ATS staff, to all of you who've been watching. Thank you so much for making ATS what it is, for watching tonight. And again, thank you all so much for being so supportive. We're going to end the stream. Take care. We'll see you guys next Sunday when ATS Championships continue.